All right, how's everybody doing? This is Cheech Carrerio from the Cheech and Manny show, and we have a great show for you today. It is going to be on the best progressive prog rock guitar player, and our special guest Silky Joe is with us. And how's my co-host Manner doing? What's up, Manny?
Jeez, Joe, what's going on, fellas? I feel like it's some time, huh, since we last met.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
we're,
exciting because we're gonna be talking about not only the greatest guitarists, but just progressive rock guitarists. And at
yeah,
the end, we are going to rank them, right? So each of us
exactly.
has opinions. We're gonna have different lists. We're gonna make. I think we're gonna see by the time our audience finishes watching, you're gonna learn who's who a rock guitarist, but
Yeah,
also who's the greatest because that's
yeah.
definitely like a very debatable point, and all of us I think are gonna have a different top one.
And we should bring
Here,
up, I just thought it's like, what's the difference between a prog rock guitar player and say a regular guitar player?
well, you know what's funny? We should lead into that before we talk about
Yeah,
prog rock. Before we
yeah.
do, I guess Joe, what's going on?
Well, everything's really good. I was just reminiscing with Cheech about last week. It was really interesting. I think we need to have a new category for the podcast, and that would be Artist of the Month, where you talk about someone maybe you hadn't expected to talk about, and captures your attention. And I think last week Roy Harper captured our attention, and he should be the Artist of the Month for January.
Yep, and he is.
I
I
agree with you.
I put down. I was writing Fragile because I wrote like Crimson, ELP, and God, in Genesis. So I put down Fragile for Roy Harper, and my God, he's very interesting. I did like I started the sketches of that, and oh my God, is he an interesting character?
Well, I feel like Roy Harper is, yeah, you know, it's funny when Joe mentioned, I mean, before I descend into like Wayne's World chaos, Austin Powers chaos, but you know, it's funny. Joe mentioned this idea of progressive folk. And
Yeah,
I've heard of this idea, and that's not, so I knew Roy Harper, mind you, I didn't listen to not one of his songs. And the only reason I was familiar with him was because of Have a Cigar, which I think his vocals are so good in that, but they don't
yeah,
represent who he is as a singer.
right.
Um, but I heard the term before Joe brought it up, progressive folk.
Or
And
Baroque
well, that's
folk.
what it is. It's Baroque, and it was part of a scene in England.
Yeah.
And a lot of good stuff came out of it. And another interesting one that I mentioned, Joe, I don't know if you know this artist, Nick Drake.
No, I don't know him.
So he's another. So England had these like very underrated folk artists, and they were now Harper was. I feel like he's always behind the scenes. He's
Yeah.
sort of similar to Aleister Crowley. Like,
Oh
he's
no,
so- like,
don't
why
go
is this
there.
guy? Well, Boy Harper's obviously we know why he's famous, but they're behind the scenes, and it's odd because even the story of him being in Abbey Road Studios, who's recording in the next room, Pink Floyd, and that
Yeah,
legendary story of like, him doing that in one take. Oh my
yeah,
goodness. And he was like, yeah, I can do that. And Pink Floyd wasn't sure if they were gonna go with that take or not, but then they listened to him. They're like, "Man, yeah,
yeah.
let's." But he's always behind the scenes. And Joe, I have another theory that Led Zeppelin's three direction and sound. I think Roy Harper had a big nudge into that. And then he's the Bob Dylan of
Mm-hmm.
England.
He is.
Did he have any influence on Bob Dylan? I don't know. But he seems to be he kind of has a very similar styling and political activism. But
Yeah.
Joe made this great point where Dylan sort of in the 70s he kind of like well even before that he stopped. Harper continued and he became sort of
And,
like
and also anti-religion. There's a couple songs that were, he when we get into him, his upbringing is just as fascinating
yeah
as
you were
his music.
mentioning that yeah
Oh my God, this
yeah
guy, what he went through and like what he did before he made it, it's really fascinating to me, you know.
He's
But
the same age as Dylan.
wow.
Same age as Dylan, so it's like
There's got to be a link between the two. They must have played together or met. Some I got to do more research
All right,
on it.
Cheech, you got your work cut out for you. Well,
I
bring
do.
it to the table on Roy Harper episode. And Joe, you're definitely invited. But yeah, but yeah, that's Roy Harper, and I think he's a beast acoustic guitar player too. Like
Oh yeah,
it was funny there was in and there was a scene, and there was a certain band called Fairport.
Fairport Convention.
They
Yeah,
were in the middle of the scene, and I love the baroqueness of it because they were
yeah,
inspired by, and obviously Prague is influenced by baroque
yeah,
thanks to the Beatles and the Beach Boys that sort of influence what Prague is going to be, but mixing classical, but also like jazz time signatures and like jazz sounds, like what you see on King Crimson.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Roy Harper's an interesting fella. He's like behind the scenes, and the people that he influences, it shows up in a big way in like their popular releases.
I mean, Tull, Pink Floyd,
Well,
and Led
oh,
Zeppelin.
one of you said this. Ian Anderson kind of took a lot from him,
He
and
did.
I don't know like what like I don't know like who influenced who.
Well,
It,
he definitely influenced Ian Anderson. I don't want to give away some stuff, but he
right.
did.
We'll save for the episode.
Yeah, they met at a certain show that made his career. Let's put it that
But
way.
we'll save it. It'll be the Roy Harper
Yeah,
episode,
I don't
and
want to. I don't want to get in there.
but all apologies to Roy Harper.
We
If he
love you, Roy
watches the
Harper.
show, do not hate us. I think his albums are pretty brilliant. He's an exceptional songwriter. One of the things I noticed about him is on his Stormcock album is that Cheech, he re- he rejects all conventional songwriting structure. Yeah, we're gonna have to skip that out. Right?
All right, hold on. I'm sorry. All right, Manny, go
Yeah,
on.
like that vinyl scratch. No,
Yeah,
no. What I was gonna say on Stormcock, he pretty much rejects all traditional songwriting structures. One of the
yeah.
things I noticed is that he doesn't have like catchy choruses.
No,
They're
he's not
all
a
like
verse
yeah,
chorus
yeah.
guy.
It's like Dylan, like very much like what Dylan will do. But it's just fascinating, and the sounds and textures that he decides to use, and the baroqueness, the orchestrations,
Oh
and
yeah,
very unique voice, very unique sound. I don't even know where to describe it, but have a cigar doesn't even like reach. Like, it's not representative of what I thought he was like the snarking, bitey, like the snarky, bitey voice, like with a
yeah,
bite. But you hear his music, you're like, wait a minute, that's not. Wow, that's interesting.
yeah. No.
When I was doing research on him, I was trying to find out if he ever really toured America, and the only thing I could find was that he did tour America in 1970, and I think he was traveling with Zeppelin, but he performed and did shows at the Troubadour the same year that Elton John did shows at the Troubadour and did Your Song, and actually broke in America because there were a lot of famous people in the audience to see Elton John. Of
Yeah,
course, the rest is history with him. I found that
yeah.
interesting that Roy Harper was there the same year playing at the Troubadour out in
Wow.
California.
Wow. That's cool. Well, I know he definitely hung out with Jimmy Page a lot,
Hmm.
and he had a super group band with Bill Bruford and John Paul Jones. That was his backup band, and another guitar player who I forget.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
I'm sorry.
well, he could count among his friends. These are unbelievable friends to have: Jimmy
Oh
Page,
yeah,
David Gilmour, and Pete Townsend.
That
yeah.
that's
Everybody
that's
loved the guy,
that's like the who's who of like the guitar rock world.
and he was gonna write a rock opera with Sid Barrett.
Dude, imagine that came to fruition.
Yeah, and Pink Floyd. That
Yeah,
that
it's funny
that that era.
the urge to make a joke right now, but I'm not. Okay, so let's move on to progressive rock. So last episode we talked about the best singers, right?
Yeah.
And performers. This time we're going to look at the guitarists, right? And you started, Cheech, you had this interesting question, like what makes like a prog rock guitarist versus a regular hard.
A regular. Let's say, what's the difference between Steve Howe and say Neil Schon?
Let's. Oh, so Joe, what do you think? You'll start it off. Like, what makes a prog progressive rock guitar is different from like a Santana or
Yeah.
Lindsey
Or even
Buckingham.
yeah, or somebody like Jimmy Page, you know?
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Well, Jimmy was very much into improvisation, and I think that the prog rock guitarists were very much into structure. Everything had to be perfect, and they really followed the song. They didn't kind of mess around. There was no room for freedom that I can recall with the prog rock guitarists in their bands. Whereas
Right.
Zeppelin would just go off, wherever they felt like going, and
It's true.
would have fun with that. So I think it has to do with structure.
Very true. That's a
And
good
Cheech, you
point.
you bring up that great story of you being in a progressive. I don't know if you want to tell it again, like you
Yeah.
being how it was not fun being in a
No,
progressive rock band.
because my mold is Jimmy Page, is Led Zeppelin. That's my mold of a musician. I'm an improviser. You
Wait,
know,
Cheech, was Iron Maiden very improvisy, or
no,
I made that word up by the way, but
no.
improvisy.
Maiden is like a prog rock band. They're very structured. They don't improvise.
Interesting.
You know, Rush too. I mean,
Well,
any.
I mean, you brought up Rush, the
Sorry,
Pandora's
yeah,
box here, Joe. I'm sorry, but Rush is interesting. I was reading. Obviously, like I read a lot of criticism and like good stuff about Rush, but one of the criticisms with Rush was like when they see them live, their songs almost sound the same as the album,
yeah,
and they've been criticized for not improvising or changing something up. But then, as you have experience, and Joe is saying, and I can see, you can't because these songs are so complicated
yeah.
that I feel like it's like classical music. Like you cannot really improvise a
Oh
classical composition, you know?
no. I mean, you can't take something like I don't know, Beethoven's Fifth, and then just like improvise over that, over the changes. It's gonna ruin the whole song. You know what I mean? Or the Requiem Mass by Mozart. Let's do a little
Mhm.
minor jam in there. It's not gonna sound right. You know, and that I think Joe actually Kiefer Sutherland arrested. This is just a quick news announcement. I don't know why. It just popped up. Anyway, I wonder why he got arrested. um, Joe, I think, nailed it on the head right there. That's that's the difference. They improvise.
Now, now,
Um,
who's the greater? Now, let me put a little what's the word I want to use? Like not yeah, devil's advocate. Who's the greatest guitarist? Steve Howe or Jimmy Page? Not my get your biases out. Like be objective. Who's the greatest guitarist?
Jimmy Page. I like Jimmy Page better.
Joe?
Jimmy,
Joe?
Jimmy,
Why? Why both of
JP.
you? Why?
Feel. Jimmy Page is all feel, improvisation, uh, groove. Steve Howe is a musical genius at technique, classical, jazz,
Well,
and prog.
no, and that's a great point. That's I don't know like we talked about Led Zeppelin because we have monster episodes on Led Zeppelin, which if you're watching this, go check out, viewers out there. But we have just click follow our channel, subscribe, and watch our Led Zeppelin episodes. Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like the improvisational jamming now is that more of the blues rock thing, like the sound? Would
Uh,
that be fair? Because
I,
jazz is very
no,
si No, it's interesting because in progressive rock, there are jazz chord sequences and jazz, right? There are jazz scales.
musical elements, yeah, of jazz.
But
But
I feel like the
I see where
progressive
you're
rock
going with
that's
this. I see where you're going.
well, go ahead.
For instance, the first band who was using a jazz improvisational thing in rock music is Cream.
I was gonna say, and remember their legendary jams? Like they
Oh
were
yeah.
legendary.
So Cream is the first band to take like Crossroads Blues, which is a blues song, and just play it for hours and improv like John Coltrane would. Like the way Coltrane would play, one of his songs, or Miles Davis would play one of his songs. They would improv over it, for hours and hours. And that's what Cream did. So Cream invented it and took the jazz concept of improvising. Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Miles, Coltrane, all these guys. They would have changes, and then you would just, play the head, the melody, and then
Hmm.
after the second or third time, you would take solos to be a bass solo, then a drum solo,
No,
three and fours.
and it makes sense because within the blues structure, right? It's so I'm gonna make these words up. It's so vibey. It's so jammy that
Yeah,
it's like jam. Like literally, it's like jam where it just
yeah,
spreads. And the other musicians, once you master the blues chords and the blues, especially the chord sequences, you can
yeah.
like start to stem off. Like that's
Well,
one thing I learned about jazz.
it's a lot easier to improvise in rock than it is in jazz.
Right,
Good,
right.
good
So
luck. You have to be a skilled. You have to be a certain musician. And I studied a lot of jazz, and there's a book called The Real Book, and I would say a song like Autumn Leaves, which is like standard jazz
Mhm.
standard. It's AABA form, and you'd play the bass line. Okay, take a solo, and these chords are zipping by, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But in the rock world, I could solo over an E in the, you know, I'm trying to say like a G and a C. I could
Wait,
just rip on
wait,
that.
and Cheech or was that influenced by the blues, right? Obviously, the blues, or no?
Um, well, the
Or did the rhythm and blues evolve into that?
R&B evolved into what would become like jazz. Like I guess. I mean, it's hard to say. Like WC Handy started it back in the early 1900s, like or Maple Leaf Rag when we talked about Scott Joplin. So he was improvising over some of those stuff, and then WC Handy.
And
So
that's a little unorthodox because when you think about it, like classical music compositions, right?
yeah,
There's no improvisation. The
no,
person would labor, sweat, like Beethoven. I feel like he lost his hearing because of all this stress, and still he composed some of the great like. And then on show night, it's go time. I
yeah,
feel like the improvisation is such a new thing, right?
mhm,
And then this is why, like, I feel like the avant-garde progressive rock is more improvisational because they follow that. It was jazzy
yeah. That's
versus the classical progressive stuff, where they're more like classical pieces. And by the way, a lot of them are like 20 minutes.
yeah.
For example, like imagine Yes playing the Topographic Oceans live. For me, that sounds like a nightmare. If that was me, I'm like, man, 20, okay, guys, let's get ready. Can't mess nothing up. And now, obviously, you can mess something up and like, play
Yeah.
it off. But I, even Rush, imagine playing like 2112. I mean,
Oh, I
what
did it. I played 2112.
was the experience?
Um, that I enjoyed because
Because it's
I
Rush.
didn't do the whole 20-minute epic. We did the bow now
Yeah.
down out
And down, down, down,
into Temple of
down,
Sirius.
down, down, down,
Yeah.
down, down.
And then we'd go as the meek will inherit the
Dun,
earth.
dun,
And we'd
dun,
go,
dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
dun.
And then we'd go into that. And then we stopped. And I enjoyed it because I loved it so much. But when I played in a Cerberus progressive rock band, I did not enjoy it because it was like exactly what you're saying. Because I'm coming from uh, improving every band, even Potter's Field to a degree.
Yeah, you guys
We
jam, I noticed.
we jam.
Yeah.
We're structured, but we jam. We're a free flowing band.
But where does that come from, you think? Like that where does it and also, oh, and we should say rest in peace. Who?
Bob Weir,
Bob
the
Weir,
king of
the
jamming,
king of jam guitarist, and
Grateful
talk about a
Dead,
talk about great guitar player
a great
where
guitar player.
he obviously gets I think he gets the credit. But
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
talk about like I wonder where does that like improvisational spirit come from? It's kind of
Well,
interesting.
those guys, I mean, Jerry Garcia, the genius that he was influenced everything from jazz to bluegrass. Those guys, especially Phil Lesh, was into avant-garde. Phil was into jazz, in the blues. So the Dead was listening to everything, classical. So they would take all that and deadify it. If that's a word, I just did a Manny thing and
Yeah,
deadify it.
yeah, they definitely
So that's
yeah.
why the Dead sounded like the Grateful Dead. Like nobody in the world sounded like that.
No, nobody. I mean,
And
they're unique, very
yeah,
unique,
the Allman
and they were
Brothers.
famous for their. acid rock jams, like
Yeah.
psychedelic jams, like
Well, that was the era. The Allman Brothers were a blues progressive band.
that's
You
right.
got you got to say progressive in that.
Right.
I wouldn't consider them a prog rock band, southern rock, but they jammed, they improvised. Skinnerd, listen to the end of Freebird. Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
those guys are jamming.
I do wonder. That's
So
interesting. And by the way, that's why a lot of people end up turning against progressive rock, especially the punks, because
yeah,
they didn't like that. Like everything is so structured. And I would say you need to know your music theory. I know I now obviously not every progressive rock artist, some of them were just ex-born with the ability to play
no, I
whatever.
think everyone who played progressive rock, they studied music. You
Well,
you just
you being the musician, right? Because I feel,
yeah.
for example, like if we're gonna mention Robert Fripp, I
Mhm.
hear his guitar lines, right? And I was watching a video that you need to have mastery of what he's doing to understand what he's doing.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's why a lot of people, I've also read that sometimes playing King Crimson is not fun sometimes. Because it's like
No,
you
yeah.
need to, it's sort of like math rock in a way. Actually, they're one of
Well,
the
you have to
inventions of math
know
rock.
Robert Fripp, for instance. You have to master two scales: the diminished scale and the
Yeah.
whole tone scale. And anybody can play a diminished scale starting on the root, but can you play a diminished scale starting on the third, playing it from the third, going through the scale instead of the root? And that's what makes a great guitar player.
Mhm.
You don't play it on the root, you start on the fifth degree when you play that same scale and you mix it up into a melody, you
No,
know?
yeah, and what you hear with Steve Howe on Close to the Edge, where the song starts out very avant-garde, very sort of, it reminds me of like what I would hear from like Miles Davis, but it's controlled chaos. And
Yeah.
then they return to a conventional and it's crazy just to think that you need to have all the skill in order to create these sounds, right? And they
Yeah.
have to be very precise and controlled. And I can only imagine how much times they rehearsed.
Oh, you didn't have a life. If you were in Yes on a Close to the Edge tour, you were rehearsing 5 days a week,
There we
eight,
go.
7 hours a day. You had Rush was doing that on their tour.
Yeah,
You
they
spent
did.
hours and hours. I did that with bands, where you just, if you have a big show coming up 3, 4 nights a week, you just play the set and then you practice the set at home. And that's the best feeling when you hit the stage. You're so confident. You're like, oh, I used to compare myself to being like a boxer going in the ring, being like,
Mhm.
oh, I got this because I trained. You train like a boxer would, and you win. You win that, that fight, and you put on a kick-ass show, So, but yeah, to be a prog musician, you have to really know your theory, and you have to know classical music really well, and you
Mhm.
have to study jazz, as well. And you have to be a good finger picker on the acoustic.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got to study Segovia. You
Mhm.
have to study,
Kind of seems like that old classic Spanish guitar. And by the way, that's how Fripp plays too, I noticed. Like sitting down back. One of the things I noticed with guitars back in the day, when the classical guitars,
yeah,
it was played sitting down and you had to hold it like that.
yeah, and you
Fripp,
pick
I noticed Fripp does the same
you
thing.
pick like that, and that comes from Andre Segovia, Spanish guitarist. Everybody studied him. I don't know if you ever heard of Andre Segovia. He's probably the greatest classical.
Mhm.
I listened to him playing Bach. That's like, he's the greatest. And they would study that for finger picking.
Mhm.
And then I talk about another style of picking. When we get to Kansas, I forget the name of the picking that the guy in Kansas
Mhm.
used.
That you hear on Dust in the
Travis,
Wind.
Travis picking.
Right.
It's when you're picking and you have a bass note going underneath it, which
Yeah.
like, I don't know, maybe like kind of like what Robert Johnson was doing, but it wasn't really Travis picking. Robert Johnson is picking, playing a bass line, playing chords, that kind of picking. But none of these guys, with the exception of a few, listen to the blues. There's no blues
No,
I
no,
want
no.
to.
You just literally, I literally was gonna say that an interesting thing, and again, I can understand why there was sort of a hate against progressive rock in like the middle 70s, but one of the interesting things about all of the progressive rock artists and bands, no blues influence. They're
No.
coming at music from a different point of view. Matter of fact, if I had to take a guess, they're one of the, obviously 'cause it's England, but one of their primary influences were the Beatles. Because by the time the Beatles released Sgt. Pepper, which we kind of said is one of the first prog rock records,
Yeah, yeah,
they were now incorporating Baroque, classical song structures. They were actually
yeah,
rejecting the blues. And
yeah.
even weirder, George Harrison was starting to embrace Indian music.
Sitar,
And
yeah.
Indian music is out there with time signatures, scales. Like it's like
Oh,
it's like a
yeah.
and obviously will have an influence on Jimmy Page's Kashmir, and especially like
Yeah.
how the
So,
song
you're
flows.
talking about Southern Indian music, which
Yeah.
is like complete
How progressive is
emotional,
that though?
totally progressive because you're playing a sitar and there's no frets on the sitar, so you have quarter tones.
Yeah, that
So,
instrument is just
so
like wow.
imagine this: you have a fret number one, the fret number two, right, on a guitar or bass. There's a million tones in between that. And on a sitar, those guys are playing that and using all that. That's why it sounds so dissonant
Mhm.
to our ears,
And
but
what
not
who
not
and
not to
who else
somebody.
sounds dissonant? King Crimson, a lot of their stuff. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if they were into Indian sounds or as
I
far as
think
I
they
know,
they all were back then. They were
I think
all
so too.
listening to
Yeah, if I had to
Ravi
take a guess.
Shankar
Yeah,
and Southern
yeah,
Indian music. I got into a whole Southern catatonic music,
same,
catatonic. I think, yeah, I got into this whole Southern Indian music
same.
kick when I was like
Oh,
maybe in
no,
my early 20s.
and talk about they and what's interesting about Indian music on George Harrison's concert for Bangladesh performance in CD and
Bangladesh, shout out to my boy Uzman.
oh, that's right. Osman, if you're watching this, shout out to you, man. But the Ravi Shankar opens up the set. Dude, they play like a 23-minute, it sounds like a prog rock song.
I know,
Like,
dude, they're banging on the clay drum, and
dude,
but
I love it. Dude, and I
their
actually listened to the whole 23 minutes.
their thing is about a journey, a spiritual
Yeah.
journey.
Well, isn't that progressive rock too? I mean, yes, is close to the edge. 21 talk
Exactly.
about spiritual journeys. Like and that's what's so great about going back to the progressive rock guitarists.
Yeah.
Through their guitar, they take you on a journey. I mean,
Yeah.
they take these riffs, they lead you, like you can
But
hear.
I can argue that too. The Grateful Dead took you on a journey.
Yeah, but you have to be on drugs.
No, yeah.
No, I'm
No.
kidding.
But
I'm
like
kidding.
like
You're right.
Cream
You're
took
right.
you on a journey
No,
with
you're right.
improvisation.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
it
They
you
no, they
know,
took you on a blue. They took you down to the crossroads where you make that
yeah,
deal with
yeah,
the devil.
yeah,
Like
yeah. But I'm just playing devil's advocate there.
no,
But like
no.
it's definitely you have to really study music. You got to study your theory. You got to know all your major chords, all your scales. You got to be a master of
And,
that.
and not just 4/4.
No, I'm not even. I got. Thank you for bringing up meter.
No, and you
Seven
know
eight,
this.
9/8,
Yeah,
15/8,
and you
7/8.
explained that in our other episodes, which
Yeah,
again, probably not the last one I'll bring up Rush, but for example,
yeah.
like why you have Rush is so great because of those time signatures, like something on like Subdivisions or Free Will, where you hear in their music, like
Well, they know how to do it seamlessly. Like
yeah, you wouldn't even guess like that. And another
so,
one, Pink Floyd, Money,
yeah, that's 7/8. Yeah, yeah.
and but at the same time, blues at the same time. What
Right.
what an odd thing when you think about it.
Genius.
What an odd
Adding
thing.
odd meter to a blue, give me to a blues progression. It's a blues. Yeah.
Really weird that's progressive right there.
That might be one of the best progressive things ever.
Yeah.
Great point. Great
I
point.
just thought of that right now. What a brilliant, that's so and that's what the best of progressive rock does. It's
Yeah.
not that they reject the blues. It just takes someone like David Gilmour to bring it in, and David Waters, master bass player, which we'll talk about the bass players on another episode.
Did you say masturbate? Master Wayne's World. Party time.
Wayne's World.
Sorry, Joe.
Oh, dude. All right,
Okay.
all right.
Now
Let's
let's
return.
we'll get the show in a row before it
Yeah,
goes in the gutter.
like,
All
like Joe
right.
says, Cheech, get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah. All right. So we have the first guitar player on my list out of the big four. I'm going to start with the big four. Mr. Steve Hackett from a little band called Genesis. Um, He's the man, and we'll talk about this, who invented two-hand tapping and sweep picking. He's classically influenced. He has melodic solo lines, atmospheric approach, classical blues, and world music in his style. And some of his, albums I suggest people check out. My favorite, Foxtrot, Selling England by the Pound. Manny, you want to throw in any other
Yo,
things about Steve
I'm,
Hackett?
the only time I'll say yo, you need to listen to his work on Nursery Crime, Foxtrot, Selling England by the Pond. Oh my goodness. And we talked about his solo on I always I don't know if it's like fifth of fifth or firth or
Yeah.
whatever, but his solo work is insane. The way he just sweeps the guitar neck, and he's great because he's another guitarist that sits down when he plays,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
is fascinating. It shows you where he's coming from, like
Yep.
this classical guitar style. He's known to tap, but he did it so humbly. Like no one really talks
Well,
about this kind of interesting style.
let's talk about what he did. He invented tapping. So,
He's one of this new and mind you, that's like what Jimi Hendrix was doing on guitar, inventing new styles of playing.
yeah.
Hackett started to do this thing called tapping, and you can hear it all over Genesis. And it's crazy because his solos are so majestic also,
Hmm.
and incorporating this tapping technique in a lot of songs. And you'll see it if you watch like live performances of it.
Yeah, he wasn't
Now,
tapping like Eddie Van Halen. He would tap
no,
like
no.
one note at a time. And he also brought in sweeping,
Yep,
which is like when you do fast runs over a chord, like boo-doo, boo-doo. And those are two things heavy metal guitar players,
yep.
101. That's the tapping
Dude,
and sweeping.
not a
So,
coincidence that Iron Maiden was influenced by early Genesis. It's
oh,
not
yeah.
definitely not influenced by like Sussudio or,
No, 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 definitely.
or like
So Steve Hackett is a predecessor to heavy metal guitar.
it's funny. He's like a Robert Fripp, where he's not now, mind you, he's not like a Jimi Hendrix style guitarist
No.
or Eddie Van Halen or um Eric Clapton or earlier Eric Clapton, because I
Yeah.
think the drugs ruined his guitar playing after.
Yeah.
But no, he's more like a Fripp, where he's such a master of the instrument, and he uses it to like provide these, like, he takes you on a sonic journey. He's like,
Yeah.
it's interesting because you hear his work. And by the way, he played acoustic too. Like this dude, if you can hear his
Oh
acoustic
yeah.
playing on A Trick of the Tail, you want to hear his acoustic playing and his picking. I mean, this dude is no joke. Um,
Supper's ready. That solo is
oh,
amazing.
forget
And it's
about it.
dirty. He gets a dirty tone. He gets that distortion on
Well,
there,
you
you know?
hear it on Watcher in the Sky.
Oh,
I
exactly.
don't know what tone, but that sounds like metal, dude. Like,
Sounds yeah. He's definitely a metal guitar player in the sense of metal. Like
mhm.
Jimi Hendrix brought the fury and the aggression and all that, but in the blues stuff. But Steve Hackett is probably the innovator of heavy metal guitar.
Mhm.
I would him and Robert Fripp, obviously.
And just one last thing on him, his playing then reaches like excellence on, and I think it pushes him on The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, where then he really turns into like not an avant-garde guitarist, but the sounds that he's creating on that album because of Gabriel's like sound and everything. It's probably some of his best work, but his
Oh yeah,
best work to hear his playing is, I think, Selling England by the Pound. Every
yeah.
song is a master.
For me, I would say Foxtrot too.
I don't blame you. And
You know,
those are hard
Foxtrot.
picks. Yeah.
It's um, Joe. I know we talked about Steve Hackett. Any comments on Steve
It's
Hackett?
just something that's interesting I came across, and it's so hard to believe that around 1986 he was in a band, short-lived, that put out one album, and the band was called GTR with Steve Howe.
Steve Howe. That's
Can
right.
you imagine Steve Howe and Hackett together in the same band?
I
Two
remember. Oh my
emotional.
God, I remember that band.
Wait, did they actually release an album?
The single it was a poppy prog. The song was all over MTV.
I'll bring it
Um,
up.
Love something love.
When the heart rules the mind.
Yep, when the heart rules the mind. They that was all over MTV. It
They
was
did well. They peaked at number 11 on the
yeah,
Billboard 200 for the album, which that's pretty good in the States.
Wait,
yeah.
what's the super group called?
GT,
GTR,
yeah.
which is the abbreviation for guitar.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, I just typed it in. Some rap artist came out.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna have
have
to.
to.
I'm gonna have to search in my own time.
I'm gonna have to listen.
I remember it, and that's the same year that Emerson, Lake and Powell came out, and he was probably going taking cues from yes, Steve Howe, and Hackett, with Genesis, trying to do something poppy. I actually forgot about that. I forgot all about that.
I guess because they never toured behind it.
It's a great song, When the Heart Rules the Mind. And the singer was different. The singer, I think, was a bass player, and he was very different vocal. Wow, that brought me back. I think I might have gave that song to a girl that I liked that I was dating in high school.
Oh, so that's why you don't like it.
No, I actually like this girl.
Okay, brings up
She
bad
moved away
memories.
from me. She moved away. She moved to
Is this one of those?
Mayapack.
Is this one of those little Texas moments?
Yeah,
What
she
could have
moved.
been?
I
What could
mean,
have
we were in 10th grade, and she, we were in Portchester High School, and she moved to Mayapack, and it was like she moved to China in 10th grade. If you moved to Mayapack.
Oh yeah, and by the way, I found that. Yeah, GTR, weird album cover. Yeah, very weird. Never heard of this. And it's
Yeah,
funny, Steve Hackett has a lot of solo albums. I'll be honest with you, I haven't
a
listened to
ton
them,
of them, ton of them.
but
Yeah,
they must be good. I mean, he's great. But I feel like his work on Genesis is so immaculate. Like, I don't
yeah.
know.
been?
But Joe, thank you for bringing that up because I
That's a good point.
completely
Yeah.
blanked out on that, and I should be ashamed. I should be shot because I grew
Wait,
up on
wait,
that.
and you said the song when the Heart Rules the Mind played when that girl left for Texas.
No, no. Joe brought up a little Texas, but I was dating this girl in high school. We like a summer thing. We
Are
fell
you
in
sure it
love.
was a Number of the Beast or?
No, no. It was like I remember we were in love and young lust. Let's put it that way. And then like she moved, and I knew she was gonna move. Like we dated in like June, and then she was moving in like September, and I was like, "Don't do it. Your heart's gonna get broken. I'm not gonna go to Mayapack. I'm 16. I don't know how to drive a car. She doesn't drive." And that was the song we made a mixtape, and I gave that to her. So I should be ashamed of that. And I think I gave her Yankee Rose too. And Why Can't This Be Love? I can remember these songs. This is bad. Let's move on. I don't want to get into my old
Yeah, yeah,
Steve.
where he's like getting like some trauma moment right now. Like, all right, no, we're done.
Okay. Speaking of the guy who played with him in was it GTR? Steve Howe.
The legendary Steve Howe.
A blend of classical jazz, folk, country rock influence, intricate technique, strong musicality, hybrid picking style, of this like kind of picking. What did I say before? Travis picking, great acoustic player. Incorporated a diverse styles of in his influence. A Mood for a Day. I know Joe knows that one. That's a great example of him on the acoustic. It's a great solo piece. He is self-taught, so everything I said, maybe he didn't go to college for music, and Joe has a story about him with school.
Mhm.
Maybe he just read all the theory books. Clean tone with little distortion. Uh, and some of the greatest solos for me is Roundabout in the Roundabout intro, the solo, and then the Heat of the Moment solo is legendary. At the very end. So that's my Steve Howe analogy.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that I think had been influenced by Chet Atkins. So many great guitarists,
Yes.
bring up Chet Atkins, even though Atkins was considered a country artist, but he was a
Yeah.
country instrumentalist and a producer.
Check out Mood for a Day. And I think we've talked about that song. And the clap
Yeah.
was another solo piece. But that's his acoustic work. But I mean, you can go on and on. Close to the
Dude,
Edge.
his acoustic work on Roundabout.
Oh, the
I
intro is
mean, dude, what a
legendary.
legendary intro. And I would argue, it's funny, I would hit some great guitar work on Asia's album.
No,
Anything,
like I
it's
said,
kind of immaculate. Like,
when
dude,
you
Why
listen to
doesn't
the heat of the moment. Listen to that
dude?
solo. How
Those
brilliant
solos
it
are
is.
dude. When you hear those solos, I feel like he's on fire. Like you
Yeah.
know what I mean. But anyway, but I think his best guitar work is on. I won't shut up about this album. Even better than I know it's controversial. Better than Fragile.
Close to the
Close
edge.
to the Edge. In just all the songs, you get a taste. Um, if you listen to, I never know how to pronounce it, but the last song, Close to the Edge, um, dude, one of the greatest like guitar riffs and guitar solos. He's just like repping and
Yeah.
how he's playing. Like and I can hear it. I wish that album. I wish I could have seen live when it
Yeah.
came on, see that tour because just watching the videos and of him playing, and then
Mhm.
Close to the Edge, his guitar work on that
Oh yeah.
is immaculate. You guys seen the videos. He's playing I don't know the guitar model. Um
Gibson.
yeah, it's like a Gibson, but it's like
Yeah.
a really and he's like really playing like
It's like a jazz guitar.
yeah, yeah. And but he I can see him like just the notes he's playing. And you told me that he's self-taught. That's incredible.
Yeah. Amazing. And then Joe, what's your story about him in high school?
Well,
What were
no,
the
with,
story?
yeah, with Steve Howe, it's interesting. Yeah, he never went off to college. So many of these great British musicians, met in college. Uh, and that was not the case for Steve Howe. Apparently, he was not a student. He was not interested in school. And when he was young, in his teens, he failed all his O levels, which I guess is the major tests you take in England that determines whether you are worthy of college or if you should go into a trade. And I guess he didn't have an interest in it at all, and he failed them all. So I guess he knew at a young age it was music or nothing.
Yeah.
I was just surprised that someone uh, like that did not go to college.
That's surprising. And he becomes one of the greatest prog rock guitarists, which is astounding.
Oh, I know. And he has so many different styles, acoustic,
Mhm.
electric, you
I
know.
liked what he did with harmonics.
Oh yeah, that's a
Well,
great point.
actually, that's
Roundabout is the key. Like
yeah.
that's
No, and adding to the harmonics idea, I think one of the reasons why, you know how sometimes like some of the prog rock songs can sound too dissonant or too out there?
yeah,
There's always like country music, like the influence of Chet Atkins is interesting because on Steve Howe's guitar work, it and his harmonics and how what it incorporates on the yes sound. Yes is so inviting and warm, like a good
yeah,
country song, you know?
yeah.
Like there's nothing like clinical about it. And Steve Howe's guitar, like I love what you mentioned, she's like Steve guitar is clean. It's beautiful. Like it's
It's
bright.
clean, but there's a little bit of dirt. It's a little bit of distortion, but every note is crystal clean. Like Mark Knopfler would be a good example of that. You know,
Yeah.
every note you can hear every single note. It's not covered up with
But
distortion.
what I'm yeah, no, you're right. But what I mean is when you hear Close to the Edge, for example, and obviously they start out kind of weird with that jazzy,
Yeah.
chaotic intro.
Now, you got that in my head. Na, 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 you know that.
Yeah, right. And then you hear wow 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 wow
Yeah.
wow 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 wow. That is what you're saying. But
Yeah.
it sounds so bright. Like I literally when I hear that solo, I see heaven. Like it's so hard to
Yeah.
describe.
No, I know.
And you
You know.
see it live, it's hypnotic. Like
Yeah.
I can't explain it. Like it's not like the one that kind of sounds similar is David Gilmour, except David Gilmour uses space, less harmonics. How is all about harmonics and how it
Yeah.
blends with like the yes sound and it's just stunning. And I find it so hard to believe that he didn't go to school.
I know.
Dude, that's incredible.
Well, Eddie Van Halen is self-taught, and that's
Another
scary.
one.
So sometime if you gave a little kid a guitar and a piano and they have an ear for music, God knows where they could go. Because no
Wait,
one's teaching you, you know?
wait, have you guys seen Dewey Cox?
Oh no.
Have you seen Dewey Cox the movie, guys?
No, no.
Yo, have you seen Dewey Cox? The
Did you
no.
say Cox? Beavis and Butthead. Sorry, Joe. It's an inside joke between me and Manny.
No, but you know what's funny? There is a parody movie starring John C. Riley called Dewey Cox. It's a parody of Walk the Line, that Johnny Cash movie.
Okay.
And they make a joke where Dewey Cox, I really did it on purpose, but Cox He's born. He's a baby. Somebody gives him a guitar, or he's like a little kid, and he just starts like howling on the blues, and like
Wow.
it's really funny. It's like what you're saying, like
Yeah.
drummer
I
just
mean,
born.
basically,
So
you're influenced by your teacher. That's
mhm.
your first influence. My bass teacher, Marshall Topo, is my favorite bass player of all time, more than Geddy Lee, more than Jocko, because he's the guy that taught me how to play, and he's the influence. So we're influenced by our teachers, and you pick up on their style, and they become you steal from them, and you become influenced by them. But imagine not having a teacher and just studying on your own. I could never. I needed to learn. I needed to keep studying and have lessons after lesson after lesson. But everybody's different. So any more on the great Steve Howe?
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
I've got something.
Yes.
Well, he's another artist that has so many solo albums out, but he did one as a tribute to Bob Dylan called
Oh, Manny's
Portrait of
gonna love
Bob
this.
Dylan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe, did you mention that before? I think you did. Like,
No,
no, where did I hear
just
that?
found out about this today looking at
Let me see. What's
his
the album
solo.
called?
1999, Portraits of Bob Dylan by
Gotcha.
Steve Howe. And what I like about it is, and I'm going to have to try to find it, see if I can listen to it, is who he got to sing on the album. He did get John Anderson to sing Sad Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. He got Alan Clark of the Hollies to sing Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. And he got Annie Haslam from Renaissance to sing It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. And it's the
Wow.
first time I've seen a connection between Yes and Renaissance. Was that Annie, did one of the songs on it. Howe sang four of the songs himself. We sometimes forget that after John Anderson and Chris Squire singing harmonies, that Steve Howe would also be singing
Hmm.
live. You
Yeah,
can see it a lot in the live footage there. So
it's
there's
true.
a nice blend of voices from Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
he
good
was a
point.
big Dylan fan.
Amazing. Bob Dylan reached prog rock,
Yeah.
you know?
1999 album release was not a commercial hit.
Yeah. I don't think people at 1999 were interested in
Dude,
that,
they were
unfortunately.
listening, guys. They were listening to Limp Bizkit.
I know,
Break stuff.
right?
It's sad
And
because this album
fucking
it looks
Eminem,
beautiful.
Eminem just came out, right?
Oh, dude, they were listening to My Name Is Slim Shady, but they were listening to what's that Marshall Mathers song? I forgot what. Yeah,
My name
they
is
were listening to Corn with a K.
yeah, exactly. Like
But
God.
dude, it's a beautiful album cover. He's like he's smiling and he's playing what looks like a mandolin. Is that a mandolin?
Yeah,
Hey,
he
it
probably
looks
played.
pretty beautiful. Yeah, it
Well,
looks
that's
very
another
pretty.
thing with how he played everything. He played lutes.
Ooh,
The guy,
awesome
anything
to
with
mention.
strings on it, the guy played. You know, he's musical genius,
Hmm.
guitar genius. Steve Howe, one of the greatest.
And actually, you know what's funny now with Yes, right? He ends up leaving, obviously, in the 80s, going to Asia, right?
Yeah,
And doing that. They Yes gets another guitarist for the album nine. I can never like I don't know why I keep saying 90210.
90182. Yeah,
Why do I keep
I
saying
have a
90?
whole 90182. I have a whole thing about Trevor Rabin. Yeah,
Well, I just want to mention this one point. I will admit, Yes, without How, not the same. Like it's different. Like and with How, like again, I can't explain it. It's just so crazy how Yes is I don't know if you guys feel
well,
it. Like,
remember, and I'm going to bring this guy up too. They had another guitar player before Steve Howe, Peter Banks,
well, you know what's
who was
funny?
amazing.
What album did he play on? Because now
Um,
one of my favorite albums
he's on the
is
first two.
well, you know what's funny? I don't like the first two for that reason, even though there's some really good stuff on there.
Yeah,
But How enters on the Yes album, the one that's
yes,
all green, and you hear he's kind of like the Neil Peart. He just
yeah.
elevates everything.
Oh no, he took it to the next
But
level.
that being said, but the guitars you just mentioned, he's not bad. It sort of reminds me of the Rush drummer,
John Rutsey, yeah,
John Rutsey. I was listening to old Rush like a few days ago. It's
yeah.
fantastic, and his drumming
Oh yeah.
actually is very Bonham-esque, you know?
Oh yeah. Everything about that album we always said is
Dude,
Zeppelin
that
esque.
album, dude, I'm listening to Working Man. How is this not the Temple anthem?
Oh man, that Working Man is such a great song.
Dude, that rip down, wow, wow, down, down, down,
I mean,
down. Like so heavy.
you got to give that Rush album props. That first
It's
album
a
is kick
great
ass. It
album.
really is. You know, Before and After. Listen to that song, Before and
Dude, the
After.
first
It's
song.
phenomenal.
Down,
Finding My Way.
Find my own way. Oh, dude, Getty's vocals are through the roof on that album.
Yeah, he's 20 years old. Isn't that crazy? Um, so well, Hal is just a beast. That's all we could say, you
Oh,
know.
the beast.
So next in line, Mr. Fripp.
The great Robert Fripp.
Precision, perfection, alternate
Mathematical.
alternate cross picking, classical avant-garde jazz, sound, heavy distortion. He uses picking where he uses upstrokes. He is not rooted in the blues. He's rooted in avant-garde and classical music. He uses whole tone and diminished scales, and he gets that distinct sound. He uses a lot of 16th note patterns, which is really fast, um, groupings and notes, that kind of thing. He's
Eh,
using, I'm sorry,
I know he invented you mentioned this Friptonics, a new
Fripp,
style of playing.
yep, Frippatronics. Yeah, it's a technique where you
Frippatronics,
do,
right?
yeah,
Frippatronics?
him and Brian Eno uses it where it's a
Yeah.
tape recorder.
Famous.
It's a tape recorder to loop sounds in real time, creating layered textures and and like giving you like this kind of like delay kind of sound.
You hear it famously on David Bowie's Heroes, the
Yeah.
guitar work on that.
And another thing, he used alternate tunings.
Yeah,
He wasn't in standard
right. Oh,
E flat.
actually, I forgot to mention that. Wait, we could just pause with these progressive rock guitars. Alternate tunings.
Yeah.
I feel like that wasn't a thing, with a
No.
lot of them because that would like obviously with like other
Iommi. Iommi did it, but
right.
Iommi had to do it because he cut his fingertip
No,
off.
no, and the alternate tunings, where do you hear it? In my opinion, it comes out to the full front. He's been doing it, and you hear it on their debut on like 20th Century Schizoid Man,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
but you hear it full force on Red,
Oh
where
yeah,
something odd
red,
about those
yeah,
guitars. I immediately heard it. I
yeah.
was like, what the heck? Like this is insane.
And that goes back to like Indian music,
Yep.
sitar, that kind of thing. So this guy is chock full of so many things. Going back to diminished scales, that's the flat five, the Sabbath, Black Sabbath intro. We
Yeah.
flat five.
Is that
A
the
whole,
Satan? Is that the Satan sound? The devil sound?
yeah, it's a devil in music. Yeah, the
And
devil.
yeah, I could hear him do that. It gives King Crimson's music an otherworldly feel.
Yeah, it's called the tritone. And then the whole tone scale is there's no half steps in between it. Everything is a whole tone. C, D, E, F, G, B, C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So yeah, there's not a half step in there. So it's very fascinating. It's an interesting kind of sound. Doesn't work well on bass. I've tried it. Bass players got to stick to major, minor, diminished, and augmented. That's it. Over those chords only.
Imagine Greg Lake and like John Wetton playing with Prep. They're like, yo,
Oh, you got to stick to root. You got to stay on the root. You can't try to match them. It'll sound like not music. Believe me, I know. Like the bass is so powerful. It holds the harmony and the rhythm together. So if the chord is a C and
mhm.
you decide to play a B and then go into 7/8 time and fuck the rhythm up, now it sounds like Indian music. You know what I mean? So it's like
Right, right.
so. Court of the Crimson King, 21st Century Schizoid Man, one of the greatest prog rock riffs of all time,
Yeah.
and Red, probably one of the greatest prog rock albums
I,
of all time.
I will say, and I just want to say something about Red. I have been realizing this possibly could be the greatest, first of all, trio ever next to Rush. I feel like if they released another album, they could have rivaled Rush.
Oh, I think so.
But
Okay.
Dude, their work on Red, especially Fripp's guitar work and layering, is so good.
Oh
It
yeah.
lays the foundation for like what's gonna happen in the future. It's heavy, very unusual for Crimson, who are not heavy before,
No.
with the exception of 21st Century Schizoid Man. But the only difference that that song, that whole musical piece is so strange.
In its 60s. It sounds so
It has a
60s.
60s jazz avant-garde style, but then they find the
Yeah.
rest of the album is not like that.
No.
But
I know that yeah.
Red
Red
is
is just
all
oh my
heavy
god.
from the
Yeah.
get-go. It's like in Fripp's, I think that's his heaviest guitar work he's ever done.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
it's and just when you hear wow and wow 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 wow
Yeah.
wow and like and you hear John Wetton follow trying to follow up with him like
And
it,
Bruford's his drum fills are fucking
no
insane.
I mean without going too much in Bruford, but yeah, no, Fripp's guitar work on Red and King Crimson and famously on David Bowie's Heroes album is so immaculate. I love his guitar work. When I discovered Robert Robert Fripp, I became obsessed. It's so it is because he like I feel like not a lot of people know him. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't go down as one of the greatest guitarists of all time, but he's known for what he does, especially with the Frippatronics, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
like that sound he creates. And if anything, his sound's immortalized in Heroes by David Bowie, where you hear that. And it's so sad because I also found out that Red wasn't commercially successful.
No, it
So
didn't do
sad.
well.
So sad because they could have done one more album.
It picked up years later when the heavy metal people started to get into it. And it influenced progressive heavy
Well,
metal.
well, 2112 kind of carried the pieces.
But it wasn't heavy like that. That was
Yeah, 'cause
dark. It was
you're right.
dark,
You're right. You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Every
That's the
track has,
predecessor. That's a predecessor for dark metal.
yeah,
Red, like
yeah.
that, like I would say thrash,
Oh, dude, the way it
Metallica.
sounds like down, 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 like
Yeah.
there's like an urgency on that whole album
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
Fripp creates. Like he's a massive creator. Like he's a great soloist. We know that. But what he does with the guitar is like it's more like what you would hear like a Mozart doing or Beethoven or Bach, where they're
Yeah.
using music to create this sound structure
Yeah.
and like letting everyone else okay come in. And Fripp is funny when he plays. He makes me laugh because he's always in the background sitting down, kind
He
of like
didn't give a
hiding
shit.
sometimes. He's so
He,
strange.
he doesn't care. He's an
No,
artist. He's the artist, and that's what I appreciate about him. He doesn't care, like Roy Harper, people like that. Like, we're talking about Roy Harper, like they don't care. They're just making art, you know. Anything you want to add, Joe, about Fripp?
I just wonder how Peter Gabriel's Salisbury Hill would have been different had Fripp played the lead guitar
ooh,
on it. He was
what a
originally supposed to.
scenario.
What's interesting is that when Peter Gabriel recorded and released his first album, he did tour the United States and Europe, and Robert Fripp was in the seven-piece band that toured with Gabriel.
Oh wow,
That's pretty interesting, I think.
that's
But
why we have Joe on the show. That's
yeah,
why you bring out these
Yeah, because
pieces of information.
you mentioned that idea also that had Fripp played the guitar on Salisbury Hill, like
Be a
if
different
anything,
album. Be a
I think
difference.
so. He would have infected it with his playing, which you hear on David Bowie's Heroes album.
I don't. I don't think. I mean, with the exception of David Bowie, he's not a session guy. You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Well, that's
Well,
what I'm saying. He takes over because his
exactly.
guitar
Yeah.
work is all over David. Like David Bowie was okay with that. He was like,
Yeah. He wanted something different. He wanted that.
exactly, and Gabriel would have been okay with that too because he was trying to explore his sounds. But I would think, yeah, what Salisbury Hill would sound like.
Oh, look how different he is from what's his name, Mick Ronson.
Yeah.
I mean, it's two worlds.
Oh,
You
dude,
know.
they're not even on the same planet.
I know it's insane, but great, great, great. I mean, I don't know. Rip, Howe, Hackett, they're geniuses.
They're all geniuses.
They're
Yeah.
pioneers for guitar.
Yeah.
Ask any, genius guitar player like Steve Vai. You bring up any of these guys, he's gonna tell you, oh yeah, these guys influenced me all.
Yeah.
Satriani, Vai, they all talk about him.
Well, actually,
Um,
one thing, Alex Lifeson, was he influenced by Alex is interesting because he was influenced by like blue. You know, it's funny with Alex, like just based on what like I watched, read,
yeah.
learned. Alex, like Getty, were more influenced by like the blues rock sounds.
Well, Alex
Is
was
that
definitely influenced by Steve Howe. Steve Howe had an influence on Alex Lifeson. Um, and I would probably say Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, like you said, the blues. Those had a big. I think Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, and Page had a bigger influence on Lifeson than all the prog guys. And I think maybe he started to get into the prog guys as he got more proggier.
hmm.
I hear Howe. You can hear Steve Howe in
Yeah,
Lifeson.
you're right. I hear how.
You know,
Not so much Fripp.
no,
Maybe,
no,
you know where I might hear Fripp on La Via Strangiato.
yeah, yeah,
On
yeah.
some of his guitar work on that.
But he doesn't get too dissonant.
No, no, no,
Like,
no.
you
At
know,
one point, kind of like a quick second, then he just.
yeah. You can hear a little bit of Hackett. I'd say I hear some Hackett in there as well. Definitely, I would say you hear Hackett. Speaking of, he's next on my list. Then I'm gonna throw the ball to you guys. Alec Lifeson. Alex Lifeson, a
Wait,
rare.
before you go. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Dude, just enough. All right, next.
Now we're like Beavis and Butthead. Cornholio for my butthole. um, ha, ha, ha. But they have an ACDC shirt on and all.
I feel like that we either Wayne's this is Wayne's World or Beavis and Butt
I know. Um, so
or South Park with Les Claypool.
what a great opening that
Interesting. I
is.
never knew he made that opening.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Right
Trey,
away.
Matt, they were influenced by Primus, which
Yeah, well the time that when South Park came out, I actually seen the original episode, the original one that aired, and I remember going, "Oh shit, this is Les Claypool. This is amazing," you know. So it was like 1999, I think, something like that. Uh, so Alec Lifeson, wall of sound, textures, complex chord structures, that fill the sonic space. He uses suspended chords that give him a great sound, his signature sound, like your favorite song, Xanadu and Hemispheres. You know those
yeah.
chords, those
Yeah,
suspensions.
Xanadu is the masterpiece.
Nobody uses suspensions, and that's a certain kind of chord that like Lifeson. It's the Lifeson chord. Hemispheres is the Lifeson chord. That's what they call it. It's like it's his trademark chord. Um, Intricate arpeggiated picking patterns. You can go back to Hemispheres on all this. La Villa Stingato. I mean, how do you say it? Stringiato? La Villa Stringiato?
I mean, if I pronounce Spanish, I think it's La Via Stringato?
You can hear his arpeggiated notes on that, the way he's
Oh,
picking
yeah.
with his swells. He's known for his swells with the the volume knob, melodic and rhythmic foundation. So when Getty was in his keyboard phase, he was a great rhythm player. He kept the rhythm
Dude,
together.
he was like a John Lennon, phenomenal rhythm player.
Yeah. Then you have his classical influences, his 12-string guitar, Closer to the Heart,
Yeah.
Farewell to Kings. Um, then let's talk about his solos. He has a lot of thought out solos that
Mhm.
make him stand out, like Limelight, you know, or Closer to the Heart when you hear that. But
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you hear Free Will when you know Free Will is a ripping improv solo. He's improvising over that shit,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
So, any other thoughts on him, Manny or Joe?
Just Xanadu. I feel like that is. I know. I don't know. Like I think we did. We do a ranking of Rush songs with your brother-in-law.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
I
Xanadu was
forgot.
like probably like number one for I think, but Xanadu, his guitar work on that. He has one of the most exhilarating solos.
Oh yeah,
it like yeah, you're right. I love that life sync chord. Maybe the he like his solos are so soaring. They're so Alex. Like you know
Yeah.
when you hear an Alex Lifeson solo.
It's using, if you're a guitar geek, if you're playing a C and you put a fourth in there, so it's like an F with a C, and then a G and a C, like power chord. It's called the suspension. You're suspending the chord. Where normally you'd play C, E, G, C, he's
Hmm.
putting an F and he's putting a suspension in there, and that goes back to like Debussy, guys
Hmm.
like that were doing that.
Well,
Mahler.
I think I might be wrong, but you hear it on Xanadu.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
where you hear that, like up
But
full
but but
volume
hemispheres is
and
that's the
hemispheres.
epitome.
Although,
That's the epitome
yeah,
of it.
and his guitar picking, kind of underrated.
Yeah, these arpeggiated chords. He or just his like the way he plays, like his solo on Tom Sawyer. It's like wild. It gets
That
wild.
that might be his masterpiece solo.
Yeah, it's like wild. He takes it out there. He's fiery, and then he gets, he could play or
I
YYZ.
was gonna say why
Yeah,
Z, yeah.
yeah, and his influences are jazz, fusion, classical. Oh my God,
Oh, and his riffing on one of my favorite riffing rhythm sections on Red Barchetta.
Oh yeah,
Right?
bow now, now, now,
Yeah.
bow now, now.
Damn, yeah.
Yeah,
Man, amazing. Down,
genius.
down, down, wah, wah, then that, down, wah, wah,
Yeah.
like, dude, he's just
Oh,
like,
and then his How influence on that song, harmonics.
oh my goodness, you can't ignore that. And
There's there.
also, he could have gave a run for not Jimmy Page on that debut. Dude,
Yeah.
my man was ripping. Like
Oh yeah,
he was like, Jimmy Page is the master guitarist.
yeah,
Jimmy Page just transcends, but he was Alex. Who would have known? Like if they didn't go in the prog direction, like if they continued,
yeah,
you know, hard rock, Deep
yeah.
Purple vibes, like who knows what he would have become. But yeah, he's definitely one of prog's greatest, versatile, and the fact I love what you said there, where he uses also improvisational blues structures, but makes it work
Yeah.
with
He
like
uses blues, he uses jazz, he uses classical. He has the suspensions, and he has multiple effects. He's atmospheric.
yep.
He uses
His
chorus
riffs on Fly By
pedals.
Night,
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
he's one of
Even the 80s stuff is fantastic.
yeah, he got a little bit more of that 80s guitar tone, but
Yeah,
you listen to, Power Windows, amazing,
yeah.
big money. The way that guitar solo developed and
Dude,
then
you know what's funny? I was listening to the live album, A Show of Hands,
great album. Yeah,
and I'm listening to Big Money, and I'm hearing his guitar work. I'm like,
yeah.
man, okay, this album is top notch,
And
especially
what's
his
the
guitar
song
work.
off Grace Under Pressure?
Oh, dude, all over that album, Red Sector A. Um,
the big one. I'm having a
he
brain
has a
fart.
ska one, Security, yeah, uh,
Uh,
uh, Early Distance Warning,
yes, that solo is
yeah,
classic life
another good
sync, the way
one.
it builds up. And he gets into reggae on that album too. They get that reggae
Yeah, where he's
police
doing
influence.
those rhythms that playing
Yeah.
style of playing.
But I think Red Barchetta, you can hear those harmonics, and that's where he's getting that Steve Howe influence and that, prog stuff. So, and Alex grew, they all grew from the first album. Oh, if you listen to Alex Lifeson's tone on the first album, it's right into a Marshall amp,
Yeah,
just rocking.
yeah,
Then
it
then
sounds
you
so
go to
sludgy in a good way.
1977, 1978 Hemispheres. The guy completely changed his
Oh,
sound and
and
style.
one of the most iconic performances on Exit Stage Left, them playing his double neck guitar. Like that's so
Oh
iconic.
yeah.
Like his
Oh yeah.
iconic double neck guitar, almost reaching like levels of like Jimmy. And obviously, Jimmy Page is better, but Alex kind of like he definitely that
Oh, he
performance
gives
is
he
so
gives them
legendary.
all a run for their money. But yeah, so I've been talking a lot. Joe, I'm gonna throw the ball to you, and you tell me any guitar player on your list you want to talk about.
Martin Barre of Jethro Tull.
Yes.
We had this discussion recently about Jethro Tull and whether they were really a prog rock band. I
Yeah.
had to be talked into it because growing up, I always thought of them as being a rock and roll arena band, nothing more, nothing less, on an
That's
equal footing with.
fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in school, I mean, when Tull would tour, I mean, people would get just as excited as if it was Zeppelin or Yes or the Who or the Rolling Stones. They were up there, and I just saw them as a rock band. And Martin Barre, I think of him as a rock guitarist. I really do,
Yeah.
and it's the influence, I guess, of Ian Anderson putting a lot of the acoustic guitar into their songs that kind of gives it that Tull sound.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But always liked Martin Barre. Uh, Manny recommended listening to him 43, and I just love it. The
I'm
tachanka, tachanka, tachanka,
oh
tachanka. You know?
yeah, I'm upset. And it's funny before um Martin's work on first of all Aqualung. Oh my goodness, he created one of those legendary riffs, which
Well, I mean,
that's the
and
sign of
my,
a good guitar player. Like if
he
you're able,
created medieval metal,
dude, he did. And I
you
don't know if
know.
he had an. It's kind of funny because I don't know, like his influences are far-reaching, but like, and what's fascinating is that what Joe's saying, like people don't know Jethro Tull is a prog rock band. Ian Anderson didn't like that title either. Like he
Yeah,
was like, no,
yeah,
we're not progressive rock at all. Because he thought it was like progressive rock is pretentious and he has like he's kind of he has this punk attitude too about
yeah.
him. It's fascinating, Ian Anderson. But his guitar playing it's so wide ranging. Like it's and on him 43, like yeah, my favorite, like the way he's playing, like he creates like this great riff, like he's ripping on Aqualung, thick as a brick.
Oh yeah.
He's playing on that
I
is
mean,
insane. Like
I got on him. I got a new day yesterday. If you're familiar with that, Cross-eyed Mary,
mhm.
locomotive breath.
Yeah,
Bum.
yeah,
He had that chugging thing going
yep,
on.
yep, yep. That's his trademark.
Obviously, Aqualung is one of the, one of the. I read is one of the best-selling albums of all time.
Sounds right.
You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, I have. He had this call and response with the guitar and the vocals, or the guitar and the flute, with Ian Anderson. That was like unique. He would play something, then Ian would sing or play the flute, which was very classical influenced.
Mhm.
He used a lot of chromatic riffs. He used down picking. He had aggressive technique. And he he chose melody over like blues cliches.
Yep, yep.
You know,
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
you know,
And
I,
you and again, I won't shut up about the song, but him 43, where you hear like down 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 down, he has like that
yeah,
chugging sound. Where instead, like he could have used like a blues structure on that song, right? But
yeah,
instead, the way he plays it is what you just said, and I hear it
yeah.
in that
Very
chugging sound.
percussive kind of sound.
Yeah, and that chugging sound is his trademark.
And
He's like
he's underrated. He's
he is.
not known. He's not. They don't talk about him like they do the big three. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page. I mean, and then you wouldn't even really consider him prog, but he is prog.
yeah.
You know, and without if you're gonna mention him, we got to mention the original guitar player, Mick Abrams.
Hmm.
I think just passed away. Early Tull. Now he's the opposite. He's rooted in blues R&B, raw, powerful, fiery guitar foundation. His riffs were based on the blues, expressive solos, and it was going against the folk jazz of Anderson, but he made it work. He made the blues work over that stuff. So definitely check out Mick Abrams. He's only on the first Tull album.
First
So
one, it's called This Was?
yes.
And then Martin joins for stand up and benefit, right?
Yeah, and then it
And you can hear the change in sound.
well, he made him progressive when he joined.
Hmm.
Yeah, he made that band Jethro Tull. Like every band has a John Rutsey, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
somebody
I
comes
know,
in
right?
and takes it to the next
Even
level.
as an aside, even the Beatles had like the Pete Best before Ringo.
Exactly. There's always
They're okay. you know,
There's
the
always a
singer
guy
comes in
who
and just
there's always a guy who hates his life now.
Yo, dude, John Rutsey must hate himself. No, I'm kidding.
Uh,
I know the diabetes. Remember, I think he had diabetes, right? Like or something.
well, John
That
Rutsey, sorry, Joe. We always go that you into Rush. John Rutsey wanted to be like Bad Company.
wait, dude, imagine seeing Rush and you're John Rutsey, like you're on like you. And I was gonna make a joke, but I'm gonna stop. Like,
Oh, 1 second. Um, hold on, let me just see something. One
like,
second.
like you're John Rutsey, or what was the guitarist's name before Martin? Rich?
Um,
Abrams.
Rick, yeah, Mick Abrams, yeah.
Mick, and you're watching like Tall Success without you. I mean, I don't know. That's hard.
Well, he went on to form a pretty successful band called I forgot to mention that Blonde Wind Pig, who had a saxophone player. Like they had uh they had a saxophone player and on that album that you mentioned, that Tull album that he played on, check out Pat Squirrel, and he played a 9-string acoustic guitar for Dharma for One is another great one. Check out on that album. So he's underrated, really good
Mhm.
guitar player. So
So on our show, I don't know if Joe agrees, but so is Jethro Tull progressive?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they definitely are. Whether Ian Anderson wants to admit it or not, they're definitely progressive.
Martin Barre is another guitarist who never took a guitar lesson because he didn't want to sound like anyone else. So
Wow,
if you hear any kind of influences, it was probably because he just, over the years was listening to other guitarists, but never took a lesson.
wow, that's
Yeah.
genius.
He was a pretty smart guy. He did complete 3 years in college. He went to school for architecture,
Wow,
but he found that it would be boring compared to being in a band.
hmm. Interesting. Like we said, Steve Harris was a draftsman.
Yeah.
Before he. So I mean, I could go on and on. I have a list. You guys want to bring up some other guitar players, or you just want to go through the list, my list, or Manny,
Well,
you have anybody, or Joe, you have more you want to bring up?
uh, I know you're going to go into it, but I'd like to talk about David Gilmour.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
Definitely.
forgot David Gilmour?
Got to have
You-
David Gilmour.
Dude,
Yeah.
you forgot David Gilmour. What happened?
No, he's on my list. Oh, I got 13 pages.
Yeah.
David Gilmour. Yeah, Joe, you'll lead it first. David Gilmour. Oh my goodness.
I was listening to his first solo album this morning. It was on Spotify, and you can definitely tell he is the guitarist for Pink Floyd. And I always liked him. Just unbelievable guitarist. I don't have a lot to say about him except that it's interesting to know that once Pink Floyd had a couple of albums out, he had been told by a friend of his. I guess he knew someone. He knew a family, or his family. David Gilmour's family knew this friend's family, who knew another family called the Bush family. And apparently, David Gilmour was a major reason for Kate Bush getting a record
Oh,
deal.
wow.
Because yeah, this friend of David Gilmour said, my family is friends with this other family. They've got this 16-year-old girl who's very talented, uh, and it'd be great if you would just listen to her. So David Gilmour, listened to some demos and did it whatever he could to help her out, and they signed her to EMI,
Wow.
and which is interesting because that was the main record company, whereas Roy Harper was on Harvest. I think it was called Harvest,
Hmm.
which was like an independent label that was owned by EMI. It was like a
But
subsidiary.
there's a connection. The Pink Floyd's manager got Roy Harper signed the Harvest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And it's
it's
funny,
interesting
and
that
it's
it's
that
such a small
manager.
community.
No, no, and it's funny. It's that manager that they're talking smack of and have a cigar.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know if it's that manager, but
No, I think they're talking smack of the record executives.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Um, No, but going back to Kate Bush, I am a Cheech knows I love Kate Bush. Like,
Yeah.
and when I discovered the kicking side,
Wait, you said Bush. Okay, never mind. Sorry, Joe.
no, Cheech, not that Bush.
Wait, Bush ain't even a thing anymore. I grew up in
No,
the
not
80s.
George W. Bush.
I grew up in the 80s. It
No, not
was
Bush.
all over the magazines.
No, but um, when I heard David Gilmour, I don't think he produced the whole album, but he had a hand in coming up with some of the sounds on the kicking side, and especially on like Wuthering Heights, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. Gilmour played guitar on that album, and among other Kate Bush albums. And another, you know what's funny? Kate Bush is interesting. So she made it big with Hounds of Love, right? Years later in the 80s. She actually was one of the ones responsible for the 80s sound, along with Gabriel, by the way. It was
That's how
funny.
I know her from the
No,
80s.
well, and it's funny, you know that 80s drum sound is
Yeah,
credited to Gabriel with Phil Collins' help, which is kind of interesting, that's like another song when they were recording the Melt album
yeah,
with Games Without Frontiers, and we talked about them with Peter Gabriel last episode. But Bush is always behind the scenes. Like she's like a Roy Harper, where she was commercially successful for sure,
yeah,
but she's not a household name. You know, like um, I mean, Stranger Things kind of changed that, but she wasn't really a household name. But the ones that love music knew Kate Bush. It's fascinating how David Gilmour discovered, yeah, through that connection, and then David Gilmour began to appreciate her too, and Peter Gabriel, because I don't think it's not a coincidence that they sang a duet on "So," right? "Don't
yeah.
Give Up," beautiful, stunning song, that she's on that. But yeah, going back to David Gilmour, he's also transcends Prog, where he's considered one of the greatest guitarists of all time. He's usually on the top list of every,
Yeah,
and obviously it's interesting because I guess another interesting thing about guitar players, we have players like, like Steve Vai
yeah,
or Ringstein, Malstein, like where
yeah, yeah,
where
yeah,
where they're insane players,
yeah, yeah,
or Jeff Beck, whatever. But David Gilmour always lands the top of the list, along with like Jimi Hendrix.
yeah.
He's top, and not much prog rock guitar players on those lists. Where these lists, or Eric Clapton, where they transcend, and Gilmour is always near the top.
Oh yeah,
You know, and one of his best solos is on "Shine On You Crazy Diamond,"
oh yeah,
full of parts. And I love Pink Floyd because they become obsessed with sounds. And if you watch David Gilmour of how they came up with that on "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," that ding 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 ding, they built a whole song around that. Like, just
yeah,
so fascinating. And that was Gilmour just playing with these sounds. He's a
yeah.
master of that. And not to mention, like we said, that he took blues and progdified it. Another word I'm gonna
That alone makes him a genius.
dude.
7-4 with blues and creating money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
And the guitar solo on Money. Down and
oh
down, 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 down. Wow. Like he's just
yeah,
wailing on that song. Like his guitar tone is immaculate. I mean, I think his favorite guitar is the Stratocat, the Strat.
yeah. My
And the
my
Strat.
favorite solo is Time.
Oh, yeah.
Taking
Oh,
away. I mean, just um, I have a couple things on him. Less is more approach.
yeah. Yeah.
That's his whole thing. Bending, rooted in the blues, soulful vibrato, the use of pentatonic scales opposed to Robert Fripp's diminished scales.
Yep. Yep.
There's a
Yep.
nice difference there.
Yep.
Funky grooves and rhythm. He had a funkness to him. He's the king of atmospheric sounds. There would be no Edge without David Gilmour. He
Mhm.
gives that atmospheric tone. Comfortably numb, time, money, dogs. I mean,
Yeah, and I was gonna say "Comfortably Numb." That solo is ranked as one of the greatest solos of all time.
yeah.
Even like it. I'm saying David Gilmour's interesting. He transcends the progressive rock genre, but nestled within it, he also is masterful on animals. I
Oh
love.
yeah.
He always, I won't shut up about dogs, but his work on dogs is so good. Like Joe said, he's Floyd's guitarist.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's no other. Like. And not to mention singer too. Great singer. Can
Oh,
hold it
he's a,
down.
he's a genius.
And his
Amazing.
guitar picking on Wish You Were Here.
Oh yeah,
man, very versatile.
yeah. Super amazing talent, you know.
David
So
Gilmour was a young classmate of both Roger Waters and Sid Barrett. They knew each other when they were 11 or 12 years old. I just think it's a cool visual to think that a few years later, during lunchtime at their school, Sid and David Gilmour would take their guitars and they would practice guitars. And I'm sure that some of their classmates would go by and think, nothing will come of those two. You know,
imagine.
the rest is history. But
Yeah.
then uh, Sid, of course, went with Pink Floyd, and David Gilmour ended up in France for a little while.
Yeah.
And during that time, that's when Barrett started to experiment with hallucinogenics.
Mhm.
And when David Gilmour came back from France, he was stunned that his
Yeah.
uh, his school friend did not recognize him.
Well, and let me add to that. They asked Gilmore, can you help play some of the shows? And Barrett was still singing. And I love Gilmore. Sid Barrett haunted this band. Like they could not leave him. Like it's kind
Yeah.
of strange. His ghost haunts every record, even Comfortably Numb. Even The Wall, it haunts the band. Like
Yeah.
Waters is so cynical. The music industry, what it turns people to. But Gilmore was playing, helping Gilmore with helping Barrett with some of his guitar lines. And he said he was so heartbroken because he was like so absent-minded, and that's where they got this idea on Wish You Were Here, this idea of absence. You're there, but you're not there.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was influencing these shows that he was helping. And then when Sid Barrett ultimately couldn't perform anymore, he actually chose not to, believe it or not, in his drug-induced states. They're like, oh, well,
I think what the band wanted to do in a perfect world was have David Gilmour join the band, but Sid would stay in the band and be the songwriter. And he
songwriter.
would have been like what Brian Wilson was to the Beach Boys.
Yep.
Maybe he wouldn't go on tour with them anymore, but he would be a creator of great songs. But he couldn't do it. Sid
But
was too far.
he never would have created what they created.
No, they thought that, but sadly, he literally is a tragic case of. I know a lot of people. Waters claims that the LSD didn't do that to him, but in my research, it's obvious. And he actually did present schizophrenia. Those drugs made it worse to the point where he became delusional and sort of
Yeah.
like he's right. And it's crazy because we know the famous story that when they were recording Abbey Road Studios, Wish You Were Here, there was a weird, fat-looking man, bald, and it's kind of creepy when they tell the story. And he was just there, like, who is that guy? Is he one of the janitors or something like that, whatever? And then they realized it was Barrett, and all their eyes was like, this is Sid Barrett. And there's a creepy photo of him, like the drugs that he was taking, because the schizophrenic to control the symptoms of schizophrenia, those drugs kind of put weight on you.
Yeah.
Like they're really not friendly drugs, especially during that time. So he gained weight, bold because of the stress, lost his good looks. Sid Barrett was a beautiful man, according
Yeah.
to Gilmore. So it's just so tragic. And Gilmore really, like, even though he replaced Barrett, that's not in the perfect world. They wanted him to be like, yeah, like a Brian Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He couldn't do it anymore. Like he
And
was
it wouldn't.
done.
And Pink Floyd would not be Pink Floyd.
Nah, they would have continued that psychedelic sound that
God knows
actually
where
kind of Ian Anderson, like that weird
Yeah.
songwriting style, like very, very fairy tale, very innocent too.
Yeah. Yeah. Hyper at the Gates of Dawn is amazing, but
I
it's a hard listen if you're
Yeah,
not into
if you're not
that,
used to that.
But it is it's pioneering.
Yeah.
It's definitely, Um, so any more on Gilmore? Because like all I gotta say, what I learned tonight, Manny, from you is 7/4 Prague and
Yeah.
blues.
No
That
one
just says
talks
it.
about
That's
that.
genius,
No.
genius.
And
That makes
that
him the best.
honestly,
He's number one
he
already.
is number one just for that.
Yeah,
Progified the blues.
yeah.
You
You
can't
got to
even
give
make
him
this
number
up.
one for that. Yeah.
I mean, that's why Pink Floyd. I know we kind of went back and forth. They're prog, and the
I mean,
fact that
we're comparing them to ELP and Yes
right, right.
and Crimson, but they're Prague in their own way, and they are definitely geniuses. Pink Floyd is geniuses
Mhm.
for what they did.
Yeah, we
Um,
already covered the Roy Harper connection to David Gilmour in the opening.
Actually, you
Uh,
mentioned him. Well, go ahead, Joe. Then
Well,
we'll
it's
talk.
quick. David Gilmour actually co-wrote with Roy Harper 5 songs that appeared on Roy Harper's album called "The Unknown Soldier," and David Gilmour also supported Roy Harper on an album that Harper made called HQ. So they were obviously very friendly. It's just they were trying so hard to get Roy Harper uh, to be more commercial, and he refused.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was telling Cheese is like it's funny because on wait, Cheese, promise you're not gonna laugh on Stormcock, dude. He rejects all songs like the common pop rock song structures. 3 minutes? No, there's no chorus.
yeah.
It's sort of like some of it's sort of like stream of consciousness.
Well, he was a poet. That's why.
Well, it makes sense, and the
Yeah, yeah,
music serves the poetry, right? But
yeah.
now, even though that album is commercial, which was I think his most commercial album, and I've also listened to other stuff, he continues his vein, the same style. Yeah, no, it's hard because he's talented, but it wouldn't obviously with like the popularity.
Don't say Vane and Stormcock in the same sentence. Sorry, Joe.
That's all right. So David Gilmour, he was a very educated man.
Yep.
He studied modern language at the Cambridgeshire College of Arts and Technology. He was fluent in French, and he came from an academic family. His father was a lecturer at Cambridge, and his mother
Wow.
was an educator. So he's one of the guys that was extremely well educated when he went into the music business.
Oh, you can hear it when he speaks. He's so
Yeah.
smart.
Actually, technically, all of them.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
so
yeah.
good guys. Like,
Yeah.
Gilmore especially. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see. So, you want me to just throw some other guitar players out there, or you have anybody else in particular?
I just wanted to give a shout out to a guy who had a very long career, and he's always been in the shadows of Peter Gabriel. But there is a guitarist named David Rhodes who has been Peter Gabriel's principal guitarist and touring guitarist since 1980. That's a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was watching last night a video on Amazon Prime of Secret World, which was the tour that Peter Gabriel did around 1994, back when Paula Cole was the female singer that would do duets with him. And so I was listening to David Rhodes and of course Tony Levin on bass, putting on a great show.
Great bass player. Yeah.
Yeah, classic songs. So I just figured, he's had a very, very long career. When he's not touring with Peter Gabriel, he has a band that's a trio with Charlie Jones, who is the son-in-law of Robert Plant. And Charlie Jones was the touring bass player for Robert Plant for a few years, and then was the bass player for Page and Plant when they reunited around 1994 to 95.
Wow.
So name dropping. It's such a small community, it seems. These English musicians all seem to know each other.
They're all connected. It's amazing.
In the prog world.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go through. You have any more, Joe? You want to talk about or Manny?
No, no, I'm ready. I know that we're going to hear about some Wishbone Ash.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, just going back with Joe, the guitarist name for Peter Gabriel, what's his name?
David Rhodes,
David Rhodes.
RH.
David
Yeah,
Rhodes. I mean, famously, he was on So. I mean, I already said this already, but you listen to the album, his guitar work is, and it's funny that his playing is very interesting with Peter Gabriel. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But on So, you can hear it because
yeah.
that's one of his best-selling records. But
It's just amazing to think Tony Levin has been with Peter Gabriel even longer. He
yeah,
was the bass player on the
yeah,
first solo album in 1977.
yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy? No,
I didn't know. That I
dude,
had no.
and it's crazy because Tony Levin did an interview with Rick Beato, our boy.
Yeah.
And Tony Levin's also interesting because he also played with King Crimson.
He did for many years.
With that dude, he has an impressive
Yeah.
resume, and also
He's
plays he plays this thing called the Chapman stick. That's his
Yeah.
famous
It's
stick.
weird.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
his famous stick.
You put, did you say stick? It's like you put these two sticks on your fingers and you like it's like a percussive, like a drum. Like you're using drumsticks as your fingers on the bass. It's really weird. I never understood it fully or I thought it was cool, when he
Yeah.
was doing it. And Tony Levin just nobody sounds like him. He's another guy that's so unique. And he should be brought up. I should have brought him up in the Prague bass. Uh did we do wait, did we do Prague bass yet?
No,
No.
No, no,
Okay,
yeah.
we did singers.
I'm gonna put him in there.
Yeah.
But
But
Of
yeah, and then
course.
just one last thing on David Rhodes, he played guitar on all tracks on So, with the exception of track 6 and 9, which is Mercy Street and This Is the Picture, Excellent Birds. But yeah, he's all over it. It's a very versatile player.
And he's on the last album that Peter Gabriel did, I.O.
Yep, yep. I
And,
saw that. Yeah.
and I think he's a contributor to the songs, but I'm not sure if he gets songwriting credit.
And one more fun fact, the he has a song that voice again on So that he wrote with David Rhodes, this the Peter Gabriel. So he's very Peter Gabriel and him are sort of like very united. So something Peter Gabriel trusts in him, you know.
Yeah.
Great seeing him live, yeah. All right, so Cheech,
I'm just
where's
gonna
Greg
name.
Lake?
I'm gonna name drop.
Cheech, where's Greg Lake?
Oh, let me start with yes. So um, I'm kind of all over the place. So let me start with Peter Banks, the original guitar player from Yes. They call him the architect of prog rock.
Mm.
Jazz influence, complex jazz chords, great improvisational structures. He
Mhm.
was soulful. He used, the volume knob swells, used melody and counterpoint in his playing. He was a great showman on stage. Played on Yes's first album, 1969, and Time and a Word, 1970. So don't forget about those albums. Those are some great albums. And he did use blues. They had a little bit of blues in there. The great song called Astral Travel that I love. Um, so, just check out Peter Banks. He has to be mentioned.
Uh,
Now,
a little detail on Banks on Time and a Word, 1970. So that's what he was
yeah,
playing on, right?
yeah,
So Yes decided to use orchestral arrangements, which he like vehemently disagreed. And he
yeah,
clashed with producer Tony Cole. And he's like, yeah, we're not, because like you say, he comes from more like a blues and
yeah.
we're not doing that. Like, no.
There you go. That's a
No,
great. I'm glad you looked that up. That's a
it
great.
caused that clash. And obviously, then Steve Howe comes in and just,
And if they listened and said okay, they would have never been Yes. Once
yeah,
again,
yeah.
John Rutsey, Pete Best,
Yo,
Sid Barrett.
they have the 27 club. They should have a John Rotsey club.
I know. I mean, and Peter Banks, like he's a great guitar player, but
Well,
I
the
don't.
architect of progressive rock sounds.
Yeah, yeah, and blues based. Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up, Manny, because I didn't even think about that. Um, so now my boys, Wishbone Ash. I need to like
Now,
just
Chief,
tell.
before you talk about Wishbone Ash, right? You've mentioned them. We
Yeah,
talked about this, Joe. We were having a phone conversation. Why are they not a household name?
I don't know. I think because they're good. I mean, I'm not saying this. I think they don't have a bad album, period, even now. But they're only good for 4 albums. And it's the first album, Wishbone Ash to the Argus, which is the fourth album. And I think the problem is the lineup changed. And once the lineup changed, their direction changed. And they didn't pick a direction. They were genius on their first 4 albums. Argus is a masterpiece. I put it up there with any album in the 70s. Any album. Check out Argus by Wishbone Ash.
And you
Um,
said their first four records, which I'm hearing their self-titled debut.
mhm.
They actually have a second self-titled debut, or I don't know if it's the same one. Pilgrimage, Argus, Wishbone 4. There's the Rub.
Yeah. There's the rub. I believe Wishbone 4. I wonder if I'm trying to forget if let me see. Did it say Ted Turner on Wishbone 4 as guitar player?
I can check. On Wishbone 4.
Yes.
Let me see.
I'm pretty sure he played on that album. I think There's the Rub. Laurie Weissman came in.
Wait, and Cheech, they are progressive rock.
They're everything, but they're definitely
Hmm.
in their progressive rock, yeah. But they change. They have many sides. They're like tall. They're like tall in that sense.
Um, Ted Turner, right? You
Yeah.
mentioned? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
on that album you mentioned. Yeah.
Okay, so after that album is when they changed and they did There's the Rub and they got this guy Laurie Weissman on guitar and they changed their style
Hmm.
a little bit. They got, more folkier, they got more bluesier. They had progressive songs. They didn't pick one thing. They were all over the map. So they lost their like direction.
Hmm.
Then John Wetton joined on Number of the Brave. And they just kept going. Then they did like a new wave of British heavy metal type of album in the 80s. I forget the name of it. But they just never caught on because I think people never really got them after the fourth album. They just like a lot of bands they just didn't have the hits or anything like that. Their big hits were like a song called The Phoenix. I'm gonna mention. Let me just talk a little bit about them. Um, Ted Turner and Andy Powell, twin guitar players, um, and they created a interwoven melodic lines where they would use harmony and they would use melody together. So when I'm saying harmony, one guitar player is playing the third, the other guy's playing the fifth, and it inspired heavy metal. It inspired Maiden and Thin Lizzy, which went on to create heavy metal. They also inspired Skinner. Melody, harmonies, counterpoint, rich textures, atmospheric vibes. They would have these great atmospheric swells and kind of like bring down bring down the sound to nothing.
Hmm.
Great acoustic songs. They had a Celtic vibe to them. Famous songs. You got to listen to the Phoenix because that is pretty much Maiden. Iron Maiden took a lot from them, and its twin guitar at its peak. Throw Down the Sword, The King Will Come, Blowing Free is a bluesy song. And, I think that's where basically Maiden, uh, if you listen to the song Warrior, that's where Maiden stole a lot from them, So just check out Wishbone Ash. Why they never made it, they just were too experimental and they didn't stick to one sound. Like Zeppelin stuck to one sound and grew. Sabbath, one sound and grew. They were just kind of like all over the place, you know. And they had lineup changes. Once you get into the lineup changes, it's not good.
Problematic. Yeah, yeah. I
That,
feel like that was Deep Purple's demise too. The lineup changes.
I see. I
Well,
disagree. I
actually,
disagree
no,
with
no,
you.
no, no, not demise, but definitely can throw off like the person. Like if you're a Ian Gillan fan, you're like, oh man, where'd he go?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
It
know?
becomes Mach 2, Mach 3. Like David
Yeah.
Coverdale was amazing in Deep
No, no, no,
Purple,
no,
but
no,
it's
no.
yeah,
No, no. Let me rephrase that. No, no, it's not bad, but it will catch people off guard. Be like, wait,
yeah.
what? You know?
You'd rather hear Ian Gillan. I'd rather hear Ian Gillan than Dave Coverdale.
Well, also like Black Sabbath lineup changes. Some people like James Dio. Some people don't. They miss Ozzy's era. You
I'd
know?
rather hear Ozzy any day.
Right. That's what I'm
'Cause I
saying.
think
Yeah.
that. Although two of those albums are fucking genius. Don't get me
Right.
wrong, but lineup changes fuck up everything.
And it sounds like you're recommending Wishbone Ash's first four records for sure, must listens.
Must listens, all four of them, and to get that twin guitar sound, to understand what that harmony is. The Allman Brothers were doing it too, but Wishbone Ash got, I think, that European sound, that metal sound, not but also they were bluesy. They're a good like a blues rock '70s band. You could listen to some of their songs and be like, this ain't prog, this is bluesy. but they didn't really pick they were all over the place, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And the lineup changes kind of fucked them up a little bit.
Well,
Um,
what original players are still in the band?
just Andy Powell.
Because they are doing a massive world tour. Did you know that?
Yeah, yeah,
They're going to be on tour through October. They're only going to be in Florida in the United States, and that is in
Yeah.
March.
That's on. And Joe, Cheech was saying, I don't know if you guys talked about this, but Cheech was saying that when they come to the States, like only like 20 people come to see them.
I help them. Well, I opened for them in 1999 and 2000. You know, and there wasn't a lot of people. It was an honor to open for them.
They should come to the
Um,
Capitol.
they couldn't fill Garcia's. I don't think.
What?
I don't, how can they be doing a world tour where they're going to the Netherlands and Germany and France and
Well, no, well,
Australia?
they're popular there in Europe, but like
Yeah,
here, right, Cheech? But here, no.
they might be able to fill Garcia's. Maybe.
Like
They
Europe,
probably could fill. They could fill Garcia's. Yeah.
They're doing
not,
about a dozen shows in Florida.
I mean, they're only big in India and Europe.
yeah, you sound like India loves them.
Yeah, but here.
That's why they can do that world tour because probably like their ticket
Oh
sales.
yeah, 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 yeah. They could do those tours in Europe, but here they can't do anything. They'll play like scattered states like Florida, and only doing one
Yo,
show here.
I cannot believe they couldn't fill it Garcia's. That's
I
crazy.
mean, they filled Daryl's house. That's bigger
Wow.
than Garcia's, so they probably could fill Garcia's, but I I don't know. I don't honestly. It's
Now,
weird.
now, now, Devil's Advocate, Cheech, who's better, Potterfield VX or Wishbone Ash?
Oh, I mean, Wishbone Ash is like one of my favorite all time. I love that band. I got
I-
to open for them. You
I'm
know,
surprised you guys, Potterfield hasn't covered a song. Like, because you guys, I could hear some of that sounds in there.
Wishbone Ash is complicated. I'd have to pick the right song. I'd have to pick the right song to do, but to play by them. But yeah, they're. I mean, just listen to them, fans out there, the Cheech and Manny show and Toki Joe show. Check out Wishbone Ash, please. Joe, they're only playing one show in Florida.
That's
No,
it.
about a dozen shows.
Oh,
And
oh,
wait, and Joe,
oh.
nowhere else, like in New York or
No, I only see the state of Florida, and they're also doing a cruise.
Yeah, they do that, the Wishbone Ash cruise. Yeah.
if they were
And they
nearby,
have
I would definitely
something,
buy tickets.
and they have
Yeah.
something every year called Ash Fest,
Yeah, yeah,
which is like a convention, like like a Star Trek convention. It's like if you want, I assume it's meet and greet,
yeah.
meet and greet the band.
But the thing about it, what sucks now, is only one member. It's just Andy Powell, and all the members are still alive, and they all went through the lawsuits. And Martin Turner's one of my all-time favorite singers.
Right.
The guys, I
Yeah.
talked about in the last episode, singer, bass player,
And psychologically, Cheech, you were saying that you spoke with who did you speak with? We were on the phone.
Andy
And
Powell. Oh, Andy Powell. I
Andy
helped
Powell,
him
and they're
bring his.
kind of a little bitter, like they weren't successful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're a little bit bitter that's the vibe I got from them when I met them. I helped them bring their amps to their van at Daryl's house, and I could not fucking believe it. I was like, I'm bringing Andy Powell's amp to him to put in his car. And this is like, and these guys should be, and they invented harmony guitar. It was sad, but like amazing experience for me, just to meet my idol.
You have any photos with them or?
I do, from another life with a really ugly person in it. So we won't go there.
What was that song with the girl that went to Texas? They
No, this is
started
bad.
playing
You know,
that how and what was it? Was that collab album?
GTR. Yeah.
The GTR song starts playing.
And when I mean ugly, I don't mean physically. I mean ugly in a personality. So I never post them. So, but anyway, I mean, I could go on and on and on. I'll bring up. Let me see. Oh shit! I went nuts. I went nuts with these. So,
And
so
before you continue, moral of the story for our audience out there, go out and listen to Wishbone Ash.
yes, listen to Wishbone Ash. I had the honor to open for them. I had the honor to meet them, practically roadie for them. Amazing band. Um, so the next person I have is Alan Holdsworth. Uh, he is from the Canterbury scene, Soft Parade,
Hmm.
the band, innovative, harmonic, harmonically advanced musician, one of the greatest guitar players, known as the guitarist. He redefined the possibilities of the instrument and treats it more like a sax or violin. He's
Hmm.
known for his legato style, where the notes are tied together, use of hammer-ons and pull-offs, just like Steve Hackett.
Hmm.
Um, he used complex scales such as diminished scales, augmented scales, whole tone scales, Lydian modes, making great melodies, great chord voicings. He had superhuman fingers so he could get crazy chord voicings. So he could get these huge chords. Um, rich why can't I speak? Rich orchestral textures. He used a synth axe, and that was a synthesizer guitar before anybody, and it was controlled by MIDI. So it would be a keyboard guitar, and he was doing that before anybody, and he blew people's minds away.
Only in the Canterbury scene would you see this.
Yeah, it was a Roland synthesizer guitar that it was big in the 80s. It was kind of cheesy after a
Hmm.
while, but it didn't it didn't take off. Um, he played with Soft Machine, Lifetime, and you sent me something, Manny, from Lifetime. Tony Williams, Jack Bruce, and Alan Holdsworth.
Hmm.
We all know UK, a band called Gong from the Canterbury scene. John Luke Ponte, and some of his famous songs is Dead of Night by UK,
And it's
Hazard.
crazy. And just like pause on UK, like our audience, if anyone made it this far, are listening to you and saying Alan's Ainsworth. Who cares?
Yeah,
Um, he's playing on UK, one of the super grooves, the
yeah,
the haunting of the Canterbury scene where it all started. It's like
yeah.
he's like
Bruce,
literally
he is so important in the prog world. Like
that scene invented Prague. I mean,
yeah,
it's sad, and
Soft
he's
Parade.
underrated.
He's
So
underrated. He is. He's the guitarist. That kind of thing. Started with the Canterbury scene with Soft Parade, and then he winds up in UK with Bruford and John Wetton. He played with John Luke Ponte, who's like another jazz fusion violinist. Hazard Profile with Soft Machine, Red Alert by Tony Williams, and he played on Bill Bruford's solo album 5G. So definitely check that out. Check out Alan Holdsworth for everything that I said. So anything else we want to add about Alan?
I don't have anything else. I just find it interesting because I looked him up briefly. He was a beer aficionado.
Yeah.
I already love him.
He loved beer.
Seems like my kind of guy.
He was a
I think
brewmaster for fun.
I think he passed away.
He did in 2017.
Yeah. Um, so let me see. The next band I have is, do you know who?
Wait. One more fun, I mean, probably like depressing fact about Holdsworth, though, before we move on. In 1986, he struggled financially and he had to sell equipment to make ends
Oh
meet.
my God.
How sad is
That's so sad. The guy
that?
started a movement.
So sad. And by the way, he's selling his equipment.
Yeah, he sold his keyboard
He
guitar.
sold his keyboard guitar. He sold it to some cheesy 80s man.
Dude, how sad is that? The
So
guy is
sad.
the guitarist known, started the Canterbury scene and is one of played in a Prague super group, and he's has no money.
And it's kind of tragic because at 70, because it's crazy because my you guys you guys don't even look your ages, but he died at age 70. Apparently heart disease, but no cause of death officially disclosed apparently in
Wow.
California. So yeah, sad. Yeah, I definitely need to that's Alan Holdsworth. British jazz and rock guitarist and prog guitarist, violinist and composer.
Yeah.
And then Soft Machine. If so, our viewers out there, go listen to the Canterbury scene and
Yeah. And
Soft
UK, it would be the
and
big three.
obviously UK. Yes.
And Lifetime, Tony Williams Lifetime. Who
Hmm.
was a drummer, Tony Williams. Um, Maybe I'm saying his name wrong, but Carrie Livgin. You know who he is?
No. Tell us
No,
all about him.
you
Wait,
don't know who he is?
Carrie
Al?
who?
Livgen, Livgin.
Livging?
Yeah, I think I'm saying it right. Carrie Livgin.
Liv. Carrie Livgren?
Yeah,
American musician?
yeah.
Let me see. Hold
You
on.
know what band he played with?
Oh, Kansas.
Yes, he's gotta be. He's
The
gotta be
guitarist for
mentioned.
Kansas. Yeah.
You know,
Also,
he's.
but can we talk about his haircut? Did you look at pictures of this guy?
I know. Well, he had cool. We had cool hair at one time, but I don't know
Dude,
what.
that haircut, I don't know. He looks like. Have you guys seen Benchwarmers? He looks like what?
Hulk Hogan a little bit. Got a little Hulk Hogan in him.
I mean, but yeah, Kansas. Yeah, one of the founding members and primary songwriters.
Yeah.
Can't forget him, progressive rock guitarist.
I mean, technical precision, hard driving riffs, odd meter, advanced finger picking, uh, rhythmic, melodic, great sustain. He played his solos in a high register on the guitar. He used the Travis picking, which is where it's an alternating picking with a bass line running through it, and you can hear that in Dust in the Wind.
Mhm.
Carry on Wayward Son, Ground Zero, Dust in the Wind. Just had to mention him. He's one of my favorite, prog guitar players.
Before we move on him, I mean, just his work on Dust in the Wind,
Oh, just his picking.
it is immaculate. And again, people don't know him because it's
Yeah,
Kansas. On Left Overture, one of my favorite songs, and this is before I knew who he was until you mentioned him, Cheech. The Wall. His guitar
yeah,
work that begins that song is
yeah,
so good. His tone is amazing. So American prog. It has like that great
exactly. Yeah.
beefy sound. Also, apparently one of the most famous Kansians. So not only Toto and and the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy.
Yeah, yeah,
Very one of the most famous Kansians is him.
yeah, yeah.
So there you go.
And did you see the movie that they made? It's a horror movie about the Wizard of Oz. Did you see the
Wait,
trailer for that?
he made a horror movie about it?
No, no, no. The new Wizard of Oz horror movie.
Wicked?
No, I saw it on a reel. Maybe it's fake. It's about Dorothy's old and she has like a great granddaughter.
Sounds lame. That sounds like Wicked.
It looked
No, I'm
cheesy,
kidding.
but
I'm kidding.
it looked like really cheesy. I don't know, just bringing up Kansas, but
So yeah, apparently Dorothy and Toto not the only ones. It's also Gary Livgren.
yeah,
He was
but
honored by yeah, he's very interesting. And yeah, he's Dustin Dwayne, Carry On My Wayward Son with Kansas, 14 million records sold. I mean, yeah, no slouch.
yeah, hell of a guitar player. Now I'm gonna throw the ball to you because I've been talking a lot. Manny, your boys, Sticks.
Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna find out. Okay, yeah. Well, Joe, any comment on Sticks?
I just think of Tommy Shaw as being a rock and roller,
Yeah.
you know. But so I guess it was the influence of Dennis DeYoung that really made the stick sound because I think of Tommy Shaw as rocking out. Is that who you're going to talk about, Tommy Shaw?
Yeah, so it's funny. I think I mentioned this story on live here. When I was young Manny, young high school Manny, I discovered Sticks. I discovered Pieces of Eight, and particularly song "Blue Collar Man." I loved it because
Excuse me.
it
Sorry.
reminded me of like because obviously we guys know that our dads were like blue collar workers.
Yeah, yeah.
So that song was like whoa. I saw him. I thought he was one of those coolest people I've ever seen. VH1 Classic, some of those videos. And it's funny. Then I heard some of the Dennis DeYoung stuff, and I thought this was lame. I was like,
Yeah,
"What is this? This is
yeah,
lame,
yeah.
lady." And mind you, this is me, immature me. Uh, the stuff on Grand Illusion I thought was lame. Um, I was like, yeah, I only want Pieces of Eight and Paradise Theater, and I'm good. And Crystal Ball.
Yeah.
Obviously, I renounced that. No, Dennis DeYoung is legendary. And when we talk about keyboards, he's gonna be mentioned later.
Oh
But
yeah.
Tommy Shaw is, yeah, he is such a guitarist and really like I say makes sticks like, aggressive, masculine. His singing style, he has a great singing style where he's like howling, but
Yeah.
it's not annoying. It's like it's great. I saw him live. He
Yeah.
sings like he did in the 70s. Dude, this dude, isn't he like 70?
Oh, easily, easily. Yeah.
Dude, and he still has his long hair. I don't know
Looks
what the
good.
secret.
Yeah.
Um, Fantastic. And actually, there's another guitarist that Cheech and I were talking about. His name is James J.
J.Y. Young.
J.Y. Young.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So
Yeah.
this is the other great guitarist. He sometimes takes lead vocalist. Him with Tommy Shaw, they're great together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, fantastic. And again, I was so happy when I saw them live because yeah,
And
you
you
know,
know where he rips the song Miss America?
yeah, I saw that live, and I had to,
He
and I forgot.
rips on that
Oh,
one. Oh my
dude, and
God.
it's great. And um, yeah, Tommy Shaw is legendary and sticks prog rock, and I don't think they get the
Yes.
credit they deserve. Also for their work on Mr. Roboto, I mean, that
Oh, I
makes them
know.
that makes them
But
prog.
I think um James J.Y. Young, he's the founder. He's one of the founders of Styx. So
Yep,
he's very important, you know,
yep.
and he's not you didn't see him though. He wasn't with them.
He
Oh,
was there. He was
oh,
fantastic.
oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
and he's tall. So Tommy
big
Shaw's
guy, yeah.
short.
Yeah, yeah.
He's tall, and he looks
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he looks like it's funny. He looks like a
It looks like
cartoon
Hulk Hogan too.
dude.
I know everybody hates Hulk
Dude,
Hogan.
he does. Yeah, he also used to have this like I mean it's kind of bad haircut maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah,
But yeah, he does look like Hulk Hogan. He's hulking, like literally.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
He's a big
Tommy
guy.
Shaw is more lean and masculine
Yeah,
and
yeah,
more, and
yeah.
he has that great hair. But yeah, he fantastic singer. Um some of his work on with Stick, some of his work on yeah, like on Pieces of Eight is I mean, riff master as
Oh,
well.
amazing.
He's
Yeah,
able to come and can solo like nobody's business, and his singing and playing on Crystal Ball. I mean,
genius.
I love that song. That song I will like, not stop listening to. But yeah,
Amazing.
love and the Grand Illusion, obviously, because the Grand Illusion is so proggy and Tommy Shaw's on that too, all over that.
Yeah,
Mostly, but Dennis the Young Lad, like definitely has a big hand on
yeah.
that. Um, and then just his song "Come Sail Away," his work
Oh
on
my
the
God,
riffs. I mean, yeah,
genius.
Tommy Shaw.
And of course, and James J.Y. Young. I mean,
Yep,
they
shout out to him
definitely,
too.
yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. They got to
Different from
definitely,
Shaw, but fantastic. And he was
yeah.
there from the
But
beginning.
they work well.
They do.
That's the like Adrian Smith and Dave Murray from Maiden are so different, but they work well together.
Yep.
Ted Turner and Andy Powell, they work well together, and they're very different in their styles. So that's a good example of twin guitar, two guitar players. You don't have to be like Wishbone Ash to have two guitar players. You can be a rhythm when one guy solo when you're playing rhythm and
Yep.
stuff like that, and it
Yep.
just meshes well
And,
together.
and just one more thing about Shaw. His debut was on Crystal Ball, was on the album Crystal Ball,
Yeah,
and he wrote Crystal Ball by himself. So,
yeah.
powerhouse.
Oh, genius, genius. Cool. So I just have a few more guys I just want to name, and then we could pick our top five. So the band Camel. You sent me a video of this guy ripping a solo.
Oh, dude,
Holy
I
shit.
just that video. I wanted to listen to more Camel.
Andrew Lattimore, melodic mastering, jazz, soulful in his playing, lyrical phrasing, great string bends. Um, he makes his guitar sound like a human voice, atmospheric textures. They compare him to Gilmore, and some critics. Some of his songs, Ice, I Can See Your House from Here, Lunar Sea, Lady Fantasy, which is on. That's a great song in solo. Lady Fantasy is on Mirage, what looks like the Camel cigarettes.
Yeah. Wait, this is Andrew Latimer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, he's also a flautist. I feel like that's a common thing with prog rock
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
and
Forgot
keyboards.
about that. Yeah,
Multi-instrumentalist, yeah.
yeah. The other guy is Gary Green from Gentle Giant. He that would be the fifth biggest, out of the big four. I got to put Gentle Giant in number five. He's different because he's blues based, unlike most of the prog guys. Great at arpeggios, feel, speed, great choice of notes, underrated guitar player. Um, Peel the Paint, Freehand, For Nobody's House, The Street, The Room. Those are some songs to check him out. Now, the band that me and Manny are worshiping lately is Vandergraaf Generator,
Yeah, man.
and I hope that you got your album from the Temple for your birthday, or you're still waiting for that
Sadly,
album.
I have not received my
Jesus,
Vandergraaf generator. No.
oh, sad. Peter Himmel. He's not a lead guitar player per se. He's more of a rhythm player, but he's known for his jagged rhythms, dissonant chords, doesn't solo much, but he follows a rhythm that nobody else has. He focuses on a rhythm that nobody else ever had, and he has a sonic painting that he calls it's like a like painting sound. Like he looks at it like he's making a painting with sound. Some of his songs you should check out is Lost and Found, Modern. And their sound was based on the keyboard, like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Vandergraaf Generator. So he didn't really solo much. He just did, that kind of jagged, spacey, sonic, trying to create a painting if that makes sense. That was like his sound.
And this is Peter Hamill, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, so anything on those guys? I know they're obscure. I just had to throw it out there since we're, doing the Prague thing. Anything else on them? Any questions?
I'll have to listen.
Yeah, they're pretty heavy.
Yo, listen to Vandergraaf generator,
Oh my God.
which I'm
Great
still
pick.
waiting for my birthday record, and
I
I
know.
never got.
Now here's a guy. I'm gonna throw this guy's name to Joe. Joe, what do you think of Trevor Rabin from Yes as the last guitar player? You got Peter Banks, Steve Howe, and Trevor Rabin.
Is he Dutch?
No, those traitors. Those traitors.
Dutch.
I like the classic Yes lineup so much that I don't know much about them. I'm sorry.
No, just wondering. Like, I mean, man, you want to describe like what he did for Yes in the '80s?
Yeah, so he completely changed their sound. Dude, he's like the 80s guitarist. But you know what's funny? In all fairness, it does work with Yes.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah,
on two
definitely.
records. It actually does work. But I grew up with that Yes, so for me, I'm used to it. But I can
Yeah,
only imagine what a slap in the face it was. It's so different.
I know.
He's the 80s guitarist, like
Yeah,
par excellence. Like he's excellent. The
yeah.
80s guitarist. And then but sadly, like robs Yes of their sound.
I mean, but he's perfect for the '80s. Like he
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
if you had Steve Howe on 901A2, it wouldn't sound like it.
No. Well, Steve Howe sounds like Steve Howe on Asia, which
Right.
produces a different sound though. So if you compare 90210,
901A2. Yeah.
90182,
No. Okay, we gotta resolve this right now. It's 90125.
9
Oh, is it?
Yo,
It was an
I'm
Cheech,
album
saying it
released in
wrong.
dude, you've
1983.
been saying it wrong this whole time. Oh God,
Oh my
yo,
God.
dude, we're gonna get
So
at
what we should have now is this should be a Cheech and Manny and Silky Joe drinking game where every time the album was mispronounced, you take a shot. Because
Yeah.
it's happened at least 8 or 10 times over
yo.
3 episodes.
So Joe, look how sad this is. I was mispronouncing it. You that's a,
I know. That's how much I care about the album. You know.
meanwhile, we're able to like say every track on Fragile and Close to the Edge
Oh
and
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and then we're having a hard time with these numbers. Like Um, but yeah, but going back to his guitar work on that, yeah, dude, it completely changes their sound and but it does work for yes,
Yeah.
trying to reinvent themselves. Like his guitar playing on now, is he a prog rock player? No. Is he a great 80s guitar player? Yes. Did he come up with one of the greatest 80s guitar solos on Owner of a Lonely Heart? Yes.
Yes.
Like he is excellent
Because he used all the 80s tricks, all the effects, the
every
whammy
on
bar.
his sound, right?
It's
Even the
so unique.
bassiness.
What a unique sound he gets.
Yep, yep. And great, yeah, and on um changes, fantastic. He's riffing like classic 80s playing there. I like his guitar playing It Can Happen. I sent you that live video, you guys, him playing that solo. I love that song. But definitely like 80s you know,
Yeah.
sound and reverb. Oh, a lot of reverb.
Tons of reverb.
That's
Oh
not
my
something you
God.
hear on house guitar, you
Not at
know?
all. No. Oh, interesting fun fact. He scored over 35 Hollywood movie films, which is like
I mean, it sounds right.
amazing. Amazing. It's like
Any famous ones that we would know?
I didn't know. I didn't look him up. But it says 35 major Hollywood films.
Wait, so Cheech, so it's let's play this game again. So it's 90210 or what is it? Don't look
90125.
I'm tripping, Cheech.
Wow.
I'm just
And the singles were Owner of a Lonely Heart, Changes, Leave It, and It Can Happen.
it's my favorite.
Remember,
What?
It Can Happen? It can happen to me. It can happen to you.
Yeah.
It can happen, yeah, it can happen to
It
me.
was so funny. It was supposed to be a band called Cinema, and it ended up being, yes, reformed with John Anderson.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, and
Jimmy
funny,
Page.
it's on Wikipedia, it says it's pop rock.
Not they
There's
took
no more
the
progressive rock.
they took the P, but they added OP and took out ROG.
Dude, no, it's not. Yeah, it's no more prog. It's pop.
I know.
But yeah,
But
it's one of their
it's a good,
best-selling albums.
I mean, for what it was all over MTV and it was a really, really good album, at that time. But I have,
Now who's better, this or Asia's Asia?
oh, Asia. Asia blows away that album, in my opinion.
I think I turned my back on all those bands as the 80s went on. I think I got tired of the production, and I missed the old Yes, and I missed the old Genesis. And you might remember Mike and the Mechanics.
Well, it's funny you should say that. This is a good segue, Joe.
Thank you.
Before you mention Mike and the Mechanics, he did the film scores. This is interesting. Trevor Rabin, he's South African, which is interesting. Um, and he did the film scores for the films Con Air, Armageddon, Remember the Titans, and National Treasure. So he's always been in
Wow.
the background.
Super
Yeah,
I've
talented
seen them
guy.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
and he also multi-instrumentalist. So he is prog, but he sold his soul to pop.
Yeah.
He plays piano, keyboards, bass, banjo. He's a seasoned producer. He's an accomplished programmer, orchestra arranger, and yet he's he's guitars.
I
So
mean, I think he was a great choice for the 80s for
yep,
yes,
yep.
if they wanted that sound and they got it. Um, but Joe definitely segued into Mike and the Mechanics. I was blown away by Mike Rutherford's guitar playing on Then There Are Three, 1978.
Then there
He
were
played
three.
lead. He played lead on that. And this song
Yep,
Burning Rope,
yep.
that's a great guitar solo. So I had to put him in as a prog guitar player. He's a great, I don't know. Do you know that album, Joe?
And then there were three.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I don't recall listening to it.
It's
I
definitely
can't place it.
it's worth a listen.
Yeah, no, it's great. You can hear his great guitar playing on Down and Out, which song is proggy and heavy. Like it's this album is strange because it begins with the most heaviest, proggiest sounds, especially Rutherford. It's so good. Trio,
Yeah.
underrated trio. I mean, they were like this is like their red.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's
dark and
true.
so heavy. Um, undertow, fantastic. And then his picking on Follow You, Follow Me is so good. Like what he does with
Yeah.
that. He's so great. And Rutherford doesn't get enough credit of being first of all, definitely prog guitarist extraordinaire, which that's the way I knew him as. I did not know he was a bass player.
Oh yeah, hell
I
of a
always
bass
assume
player.
see it's funny because um like Genesis when it was led by Peter Gabriel, I had no idea about Steve Hackett's or any of this. We even my dad, we all assumed it was Banks, Rutherford, and
Yeah,
Conrad Gabriel. We forgot about Hackett.
yeah.
Like sad. Obviously we're remedying that, but yeah, his work on also every album, yeah, starting where and then there were three. His work on Duke, fantastic, and he's playing a lot of
Oh
roles, bass
yeah,
player, guitar player. Abacab, these are really great albums,
yeah.
and the compliment for you, accomplished bass player.
Oh, definitely. I mean, so I definitely had to mention him. I know that's pretty much all the guitar players I could think of.
Wait, how do we
For
feel about
Prog.
Mike and the Mechanics? Because
All I need is a miracle. All I need is
all I
teaching
need
Manny
is a
something
miracle,
good.
a
I like it.
miracle.
I like it. I think it's
Yeah,
catchy.
plays at the temple a lot.
It stays in your head forever. I
All I
think it.
need is a miracle. All I need.
Supper's ready.
I think what's
So,
interesting is that getting back to Genesis and Mike Rutherford was that, and then there were three came out in March of '78. But I think what happened was I went out and bought the live album Seconds Out, which came out in October of '77. It came out before.
Right, right.
You know?
And that had the original lineup, minus Gabriel, but almost well, I should say original, but everybody minus Gabriel. And it's funny, yeah, at the same time, yeah, and it's funny, the album title is called And Then There Were Three, because literally there were only three left.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um, Hackett's last album was Wind and Wuthering, 1976, and the
it's a good
live
album.
album, which a lot of people, that's their first foray into Genesis, that live album.
Yeah,
But yeah, his work on And Then There Were Three is really good. Every song.
yeah. I was
That,
impressed when I listened to it.
mhm.
Um, so that's all the guitar players I came up with for
Yeah.
Prague. I mean, and I went and I got obscure Van de Graaff Generator, Gentle Giant stuff, but I can't think of any others. Trevor Rayburn's interesting with the film scoring. He's the,
You know what?
um,
Let's include him there. Just he'll be kind of like
he's a
that on the
musical
set.
he's a musical genius if you think
You know what
about
is
it.
he'll be like the cheerleader of prog rock guitars, or he's
Yeah,
there, like he's cheering
yeah.
them on. We're not gonna include it.
Talent, super talented though when you think
Super
about it.
talented. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now that just leaves us to pick our top five.
Oh, that's
And
easy.
So I guess, Cheech, you go first because last time you went last. We'll go
okay.
reverse.
All right. Mine are well I didn't have Gilmore on my list, but I gotta put him on there now
Or maybe you can do
because
like an honorable mention.
Gilmore will be my honorable mention because of the money, 7/4 and blues. That pretty much is genius.
Mhm.
So five is Steve Hackett. You know, we know why we just talked about these guys for hours. Uh Four is I thought I had my list memorized. Robert Fripp. Um, Three is Steve Howe. Two is Wishbone Ash, Ted Turner. And one is who do you think one is?
Andy Latimer. Camel.
No, no. Who
Joe, you
did I
want to take a
miss?
guess? Wait, Joe, take a guess.
Was it Andy Powell?
No, Andy Powell and Ted Turner were number two.
No, no. I'm
Okay,
joking
so
with you.
you put both of them as number two because they were like a twin guitar
Yeah,
attack.
yeah, yeah. I can't believe you guys can't get this.
No, I
Alex
know it. I
Lifeson.
know it. I'm joking with you.
Alex.
Alex Lifeson.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah, I was
Alex.
gonna say Frank Zappa
No,
to
no.
trigger your genius.
Well, I gotta say, Frank Zappa. Me and Joe were talking about this. He's a
Wait. Where's
great
Martin Barr?
guitar player. I didn't have him in there. I should have had him in there. Holy
Wow.
shit.
You know
How can
who
I
we
miss
forgot to
him?
talk about? Mike Oldfield too.
But he plays everything. That guy,
Ah, that,
he's
should
like
do
one
a
of those.
separate episode. A multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, but Lifeson is my number one. Uh, Tall, I would put six. I'd put that six. Martin Burr. Yeah, so that's my list.
Want me to go next?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Number 6 is David Rhodes with the Peter Gabriel touring company and studio albums.
Hmm.
Number 5, Steve Hackett. Number 4, Alex Lifeson. Number 3, Martin Barre of Jethro Tull. Number 2, David Gilmour of Pink Floyd. And leaving number 1 by a lot, Steve Howe of Yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
Steve Howe, yes. We got Alex Lifeson, Rush, Steve Howe's, yes. So these are just so one can see like our top ones here.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's
One
something
one
that
inspired the other. Steve
what?
Howe inspired Steve Howe inspired Alex Lifeson.
Oh, yes.
No
Yeah.
pun intended. Right?
So you have to move your car, Chris. You'll get a ticket.
You want to go, Manny?
Yeah, and then sounds like a song. Move your car. Come get a ticket. All right.
No, no.
Wait.
The name of the song is "I'm in Love with My Car," written by Roger Taylor of Queen.
Yes.
I was watching last night Queen live in Montreal, 1981, and they must have refinished it or something. It was stunning. It was fantastic. It was on Amazon Prime, but sometimes we forget about Queen because they were so diverse. But they were proud.
Well,
They had
Queen 2.
and which
yeah.
would of course put Brian May potentially into the prog rock
I'll be honest with you, I would
category.
Bohemian Rhapsody is a prog suite.
I- once again,
Cheech,
when
no, it's no good.
when I think of Queen, I think of them like Frank Zappa. Like there's no one, nobody sounds like
That
Queen. You
and
know,
no one sounded like uh yeah, like Freddie Mercury. Um yeah,
Brian May.
Brian May. Dude,
Nobody
he
sounds
built
like
his
that.
own guitar.
Nobody sounds like Brian May.
Wait,
There's
wait,
no
wait.
guitar player in the world that sounds
Wait.
like Brian May.
How prog is that? He built his own guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, and the sound that he was getting very unique. But I agree with you. It's hard to put Queen down because
Yeah.
they're geniuses, like Frank Zappa. Like they even transcend whatever genre they were in. Like,
Yeah. I couldn't. I thought about Queen, but I was like, they're just Queen. There's like they're so unique.
They were so diverse because they would do like rockabilly, like silly little
yeah,
things.
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
And 80s music, well, better than like most bands in the
Another
80s.
one bites the dust. They they
Oh,
they really took
dude,
it
the
to a good
bass
level.
line too, and Brian's Mar guitar,
think,
very
I mean, think of the love songs. "Love of My Life."
yeah,
Yeah.
They could have done Broadway with "Don't Stop Me Now."
yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
show tunes. They were just so diverse. You can't label them as progressive. They have progressive elements. Yeah,
Yeah.
because otherwise you'd have to start all over and
right.
put Brian May
Well,
into the mix.
we forgot if that's the case, then Freddie Mercury should be a prog rock singer, and Seaside Rendezvous is what.
I think
I
we
mean,
mentioned that when the Singers gets released. I think we mentioned him as having prog elements, but being too diverse, just as Robert Plant was, just
Yeah,
as
it's hard.
Roger Daltrey.
They
You could say, well, Roger
transcend.
Daltrey did
Yeah,
Tommy, he did
yeah, yeah.
yep,
Quadrophenia, they did
yep,
concept
yep,
albums, but Daltrey did so many other types of music with Townsend.
yep.
You know, so prog elements. But when you think of like John Anderson and Steve Howe, they totally dedicated their careers, decades, to the progressive rock movement.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, and actually speaking, I'll go opposite with my list. Number one, Steve Howe.
Number one. Okay.
Number one, Steve Howe. I mean, just for that.
Genius.
See, I'm even humming his guitar lines like that. You
When
know,
you could do that, that's a good guitar player.
Number two, my favorite. And this is so hard. I had a um it breaks my heart, but number two is Robert Fripp. I am obsessed with his guitar playing.
Yeah.
And especially like first of all, King Crimson, I've been obsessing with Red. Bam, 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 bam,
Oh,
bam, bam. I went like I want to play guitar just so I can play that.
yeah. So
And
good.
also his heroes guitar work. Bam, wow, 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 wow. And like he's playing that Prippatronic sound where he's creating
Yeah.
a collage of guitar soundscapes. Number three, Alex Lifeson. Ba-na-na-na-na-na.
Limelight. Yeah.
Da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. And then like he's just riffing. And my favorite. Da-na-na-na-na-na,
Yeah, yeah.
da-na-na-na-na-na-na,
Oh, yeah.
da-na-na-na-na.
Free will. Yeah.
Xanadu. Enough said. Four, David Gilmour. David Gilmour special place in my heart because he's the Pink Floyd's my first band I ever listened to. Been
Mhm.
obsessed ever since. Evolved or transcended to Dogs is one of my favorite Pink Floyd records. One for me. Um, five, I have Steve Hackett, Genesis.
Yep.
I mean, what can we say? Everything that he did with Genesis is superb. Sally doesn't get enough credit, but um,
No.
should be considered one of the greatest guitarists of all time. Oh, especially for his 12 string playing too. And then I got an honorable mention here. I have an honorable mention in Martin Barr, Jethro Tull, for his work on Thick as a Brick and Aqualung, which is just astounding
Yeah.
um, and beautiful. It is. Yeah, I've been obsessing over Thick as a Brick too, because I love that album. And maybe one more one more honorable mention. What's the guitarist from 901?
Trevor Rabin.
Trevor Reaper.
90125, guys.
Okay, take a shot, Cheech.
90
We forgot.
901 90125.
Trevor Rabin for. No, I'm kidding. Um, special nod to we just mentioned him. What's the guy? Tommy Shaw.
Yeah,
My
yeah, yeah.
special
Yeah.
mention was I love Tommy Shaw. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Genius. Definitely. That's a great list. So we got Steve Howe, and Alex Lifeson.
yep. And Alex Lifeson made my list, of course. Like
Yeah.
a few
Did
years
I?
ago, before taking this drug of progressive rock, I would have put him top number one, but
Yeah.
I'm ODing on this.
I know. Did you, Joe, did you put Alex Lifeson on your list?
Yeah, he was number 4.
We all had Alex. Yeah. That
Alex.
definitely had to be in there. So, I mean, it comes down to like, I think Steve Howe and Alex Lifeson are the best prog rock guitar players. And
Yeah.
what Gilmore did is genius too. Definitely.
I love what you
And
said. How and Lifeson. And I guess am I the only one that mentioned Prip in my list?
no, Fripp was in my list.
Okay. Joe, was Prip in your list?
No,
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I feel like maybe because Cheech and I are obsessed with Red.
Maybe.
That's why.
it
But
scared
yeah.
my dog.
Man,
It's what?
When I was playing Red, it scared my dog and he went into the other room.
Oh my God,
Are you sure it
that's
wasn't
funny.
the album cover?
John Wetton did it.
I don't have the album cover.
Uh, Red, you probably put the first track on and it probably scared your dog. Yeah. Good example of diminished scales there.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah,
Wow, 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 wow.
oh God.
Like,
I used to do that with a band. We used to cover that. Great, great, great song.
do you get like an energy playing that? Like I couldn't.
Oh yeah. I used to do it with the drummer in Powder's Field. We used to do it, and it was tough. We played that song like 100 times just to get it right. I mean, it goes into the groove and stuff. It's a really, really challenging song to play. But we covered a lot of guitar players tonight. So hopefully, people watching the show have learned prog rock guitars. There's so many. There's so many of them, besides just, Yes and Fripp. And hopefully you could go out and listen to some of the obscure ones. Definitely check
Wait,
out
Cheech, in your list, where's Wishbone Ash?
number 2.
Oh, okay, okay.
My list was Steve Hackett, Fripp, Steve Howe, Wishbone Ash, and Alex.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like a Cheech list.
Yeah, because Wishbone Ash, they, for me, on a personal level, I have so many experiences with those guys in my life. I told you from when my kid growing up, I opened for
Yeah.
them. I
Yeah.
see, I actually carried their amps out. So like they're, a huge band that I actually met many times, influential band. So they had to be on my list. And they're still touring, which is amazing.
Yeah, they're doing like a world tour and a few cities in Florida.
I mean, and Puppet Show. It's like, it's like
Big
Spinal
cruises.
Tap, you know. I feel bad for them because I just wish the original Wishbone Ash would get back together, you know. Martin Burt,
Well,
uh, with the,
and also, you know what happened when they were doing the world tour? Rush declared their tour, and they're like, "Oh, those bloody Yanks,
I
we're
know.
ruined. We're ruined."
I mean, if Martin Turner, Ted Turner, Andy Powell, Steve Upton got together and that's the original band and just played and it's sad. That should be the world tour. Then they would sell out America.
Mm.
If the original Wishbone Ash came to, they couldn't play the Capitol, but they would be able to fill Garcia's. You know what I mean? This lineup, I don't know. I don't know where they would play around here. In the city, I'm sure there's a place for them.
Like one of the
Actually,
maybe
I think they played in they played in Norwalk at that place or Bridgeport. Is there a place in Bridgeport?
that sounds right. Yeah, like some seedy bar.
No, isn't there a big? Isn't there?
I'm kidding. There's a
Yeah,
bar where I could see that,
yeah. They
or,
played
or a
somewhere.
theater too. There is a theater
Yeah,
there.
I think they played at that theater.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just check out Wishbone Ash. I wish they could have been bigger. They're pretty old now. Andy Powell's like 77, 76. He's still doing it. Um, but yeah, so great show, guys. A lot of information tonight. So any final notes on the show, Joe?
Well, it was interesting bringing up Kate Bush. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it was a good
Oh, I
show.
love Kate Bush.
Yeah. Actually, one thing in an unrelated but related note, since you guys mentioned Rush about a dozen times, I was very upset to learn that Steven Drozd, the creative mind of the Flaming Lips, has left the band after 33 years. So the only original Flaming Lips member now is Wayne Coyne, the
Oh,
band
what?
leader, singer.
Why do you leave?
Um, I think for his health.
Yeah.
He was a recovering
Why?
addict back in the 90s, and I think maybe he had a slip. But I don't know why there seems to be a rift between Steven and Wayne Coyne. Uh, they because he's out. Because I thought, well, he could still write music and work in the studio with them because he's a multi instrumentalist. Guitarist, keyboards, drums,
Mm.
Yeah.
excellent. And so it's like the Flaming Lips will never be the same again because now they're down to one original member.
You're like Wishbone Ash.
Yeah,
Wow.
I remember back in the day, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. It was at David Clayton Thomas was the singer.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
I remember they played at the Oyster Festival in Norwalk. This had to be 20 years ago. And yeah, David Clayton Thomas, the singer, was the only remaining original member.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That
then
could,
I guess that
it's
could
almost
from a
like,
psychological perspective. It's kind of sad. Like, oh,
I mean, it's almost like, is it really the band or is it just the original member with a backing
well,
band?
you said that, yeah, and it's kind of sad because sometimes, like, you could tell, like, the others are just. I mean, I'm just jokingly, or, like, just trying to be funny here, but they're paid to be, they're
Yeah, it's
paid.
like
They're not. You don't see that.
whenever whenever I've seen Wishbone Ash, they sound great, but they don't sound like
It,
the
it
original Wishbone Ash.
yeah, and it would be like Robert Daltrey going on the road with the Who, but minus Townshend and just him. You know, it's like
But John Anderson gets away with it, and he does a great job, from what Joe was saying. He,
that's a good point.
Absolutely.
That's a good
Well,
point.
you know,
I
so
find, yeah, I find most of the time the older band leaders or guys that were in very popular bands, they always surround themselves with fantastic younger players. I remember watching B.B. King at the Palace Theater in Stamford, and that's what he did. He had
Mm.
fantastic
Yeah.
players behind him. It was synergy. It
but the
was
dip, the
Or
difference.
you do what Rush did. I'll stop there.
No, yeah.
She's going to do just fine. Annika is going to do just fine. She's going to win a lot of converts. Yeah.
It's Cheech. Wait, Joe, do you know Cheech is Cheech, have you talked to Joe about this or
No, I haven't
oh,
really.
okay, I'm opening a can of worms. All right.
Yeah,
But
well,
yeah,
we'll see.
no,
We'll
I
see.
agree with you. I also seen that where artists I've seen, but I will say I'm blessed to see like Neil Young touring with the original Crazy Horse. That was a blessing. Fleetwood Mac. Oh, actually, you know who's kind of successful? That kind of in a way, Springsteen, because he does have a mix of like old and new in the E Street
Yeah,
Band. Uh, but yeah, like it's yeah, it's like an interesting take on
yeah.
this idea here.
But singers could get away with it. John Anderson can get away with it because it's he's the voice.
Well, Steve Howe.
No, no, because he doesn't have John Anderson singing. You know what I mean? It's not
I
really yes.
I read somewhere the critical opinion of how singing is not that great. Like some I was reading like a scathing piece on
Wait,
his.
he's singing. He's the lead singer in Yes or no?
I don't know. I'll unearth the piece I was reading, but like he did um solo work sometimes it's like not because he's and I disagree with that obviously, but yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. Anderson is what Yes is known for.
yeah. If you're a singer, you could get away with it. If you're just a guitar player and you have, like Andy Powell with Wishbone Ash, I keep bringing them up. Andy Powell sang some of the songs too,
Mm.
and the songs that he sang, but the hits he didn't sing. So it's kind of like, that kind of thing. But, if Jethro Tull went out with a new singer, what would that sound like? You know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't think I wouldn't think Ian Anderson would allow that
right,
because he is Jethro Tull. I
yeah.
mean,
So,
he likes to think that, but
but yeah, the singer's everything. If it's a singer, he can get away with it, But if it's not the singer, it's a different band, I think.
Well, when we're done tonight, I'm going to look up Martin Barre's band. He has a band, and I wonder what kind of singer he has and what kind of music he's doing.
mm,
Because Martin Barre was not invited to go on tour when Jethro Tull had their 50th year celebration tour. He was not invited.
What a shame. What a shame.
that's a
Yeah,
shame.
Probably over money.
it's always
Money,
about money.
Always
money, royalties, albums,
nothing kills money. To quote Pink Floyd, money, the root of
Exactly.
all evil.
It really is,
Give me my big fat cat stack of cash.
what it comes down to. Because, and they don't have much time, these guys. They're in their late
I
70s.
know.
It's over. It's over.
I
In
know.
10 years, we won't be talking about going to see Jethro Tull. Maybe in an old folks' home or something.
Maybe that's why Wishful Ash is touring Florida for the retirement homes.
Maybe. Maybe.
Dude, you should like go to Florida when they're down there.
I know. I mean, I
Take
see
some
it.
UPT, man. Just go.
Yeah, yeah. Wishbone Ash. And
The
it's funny.
reason to see Wishbone Ash.
Andy Powell lives in Connecticut. He
Oh,
lives in he lives in Reading. Yeah, he's not. He's local.
small
Yeah,
world.
I know. I know. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, I just wish the original Wishbone Ash would get back together, but never gonna happen. But Martin Turner has a Wishbone Ash in Europe. He tours Europe with it. Yeah, it's called Martin Turner's Wishbone Ash.
That must be so confusing.
It's like, yes.
Talk,
It's like,
talk about they have a little fan base and they're just splitting their little fan base apart.
it's just play together, be a band, and just fuck the royalties and money, and just be the band because the fans want to see the original band. They don't want to see splinter off groups.
It's
You
it's
know?
Spinal Tap, Cheech. It turns into Spinal Tap when
I
Nigel comes
literally
back
was
to
gonna
the
say
band.
that. It's Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Cheech, are
Yeah.
you sure this is not Spinal Tap? Which
Which one? Ash?
they inspire Spinal Tap? Tune in on the next Cheech and Manny show. That's the
Exactly.
topic.
Nah, but
We
actually,
know
Joe.
a certain priest, Wishbone Nash, like that's his favorite band.
Oh yeah, yeah. I want my copy of Argus. Joe, there's a Spinal Tap too, right? Did they make a sequel?
They did.
Well, yeah, I haven't watched it because it's just too sad because, Rob Reiner directed it and I'm sure he appeared in it as the
He
director.
did. I seen a clip, but I don't know. McCartney's in it, I think. Paul McCartney.
McCartney has a cameo and Elton John has a cameo.
Yeah, and they were talking about how they don't like Spinal Tap
But I wonder, is that real?
because of egos. Because they're like
Because I know that's a
McCartney.
mockumentary. So
McCartney was like, yeah, there was always an ego. There was always a problem when we played with them. It's like it's so funny. to
like,
see
yeah,
it.
that must be part of the.
I
It's
think
funny.
I could watch it. I think it's now on Netflix or something like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on
But
one
it's
of
just
the.
right now it's too sad because I know that Rob Reiner reprises his role as Marty DeBurgi, the director. I mean, it was his baby. It was his first real film back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it probably just like the first one, the second Spinal Tap probably didn't make any money,
Yeah.
but it'll probably develop a cult following.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. But anyway, great show, guys. A lot of information.
Mhm.
And we could do I think I have what do I have next? Uh, I'm sorry. Keyboard players. Best keyboard players in Prague.
Okay.
To finish up the Bible. The
Are we
Prague.
going to exclude the Dutch?
The Dutch.
Yeah, well, first of all, exclude the Dutch.
Oh, wow.
Also, keyboard players. It's just Wakeman. No, I'm kidding.
No, the Dutch are invited, Joe. The Dutch are invited. So yeah.
Yo, where was that? Wait, by the way, where was that band that made that song? Oh, who's their name? That weird band, the yodeling band.
Focus. Hocus Pocus
Where
by
are they
Focus.
from?
I think they're the Netherlands.
Are they Dutch too? Are they Dutch?
I think they're from the Netherlands.
Dude, you guys been talking about that guitars, and also I guess they're not welcomed.
Well, I had his name down, but I decided not to go with it.
I consider them a one-hit wonder. There's not enough.
But what about in the Prog world, though? Because that doesn't really count. The one-hit wonder status, because a lot of them are obscure, but they're fantastic.
Yeah, but there's not many one-hit wonders in Prague.
Yeah, they were Dutch.
Oh,
now you know why they were not big in England.
Yeah. So like if you have they're a one-hit wonder band, and in Prague, even like Van der Graaf Generator, Gentle Giant, they had 3-4 good albums. You know what I mean? They weren't a one-hit wonder. I didn't include Focus in this list, but they're Prague, definitely. And they're important. We talked about them, I think, as bands though. As guitar players, I really don't think the guy was, because he's Dutch.
It's all right, Cheech, he's Dutch. The Dutch.
Because he's Dutch.
The keyboard player song. Like you guys are gonna mention like the one on Relay, and we're like, nah.
He's Dutch.
Moraz. All right, have we all covered it?
I think that's it, man. This was a
I think
long
we're approaching 3 hours.
Yeah, this is like a Prog. These are turning into Prog rock songs at this point.
They are. This is like friggin' brain salad surgery. This episode.
My brain is brain salads.
I know. It's about to fall out.
Yeah,
And I
but
did,
yeah,
and I did 8 hours at the temple today too. So it was
well,
like a,
I did ARs too, dealing with
well,
13-year-olds. So I'm
yeah,
fried too. So
yeah,
yeah, guys, this was amazing, gents. Great episode.
yeah,
Yeah, guys, always a pleasure.
awesome. And then we'll
I
do
will
next
say,
week.
and no certain album was mentioned. Well, kind of.
No,
Then
Stormcock was not mentioned.
you just mentioned. We
Oh
used to
my
do a drinking
god,
game every time Stormcock is drinking.
yeah, it was shot.
Anytime Rush is mentioned, Stormcock, we mess up the yes.
Oh, forget it.
We're
Yeah,
gonna be
I'm
drunk by
sorry.
the end.
We've been
91125.
saying that. You should have corrected us like a while ago, Joe. I didn't even
You
like.
know that you're gonna get an angry fact checker now.
Oh yeah. Well, that album doesn't count. It's not Prog. It's not Prog. It's 80s pop. But anyway, the last real good Yes album was Drama, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, but you can't deny that the songs are genius on that album. You know, but we learned a lot about Trevor Rabin. I mean, I didn't know he did all those movies. Oh my God, it's crazy. But
He just makes me laugh.
yeah, he's talented, but it's not Yes. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I remember even thinking that like as a kid, like this ain't Yes. I was 14 years old, going, this is
You know,
not.
it's funny. I knew him because of the Yes album, and I was young Manny. I was like, oh yeah, it's awesome, 80s music. You know,
Yeah,
never would I think that this band is prog rock.
and thank you, Joe, for bringing it to GT with a GTR.
Yep, GTR.
GTR.
Thank you for bringing that up because I did not even think about that one. I must have blocked it.
Which was a collaboration between Howe and
Hackett.
Hackett. Oh yeah. Well, now
And that was a big deal
we got some gents,
for about a year.
we got some homework to do.
Yeah, well, I know the song. You know,
Oh
when
well, it
my
has
heart
that
moves
special
on.
place for you.
Yeah, yeah,
The Texas girl.
yeah. And it's like it was a huge radio MTV song. It was
Yeah,
huge,
yeah.
massive summer. I remember it being
Have
all
a
over.
video?
Yeah, there's a video out there for it. And it must have been them cashing in on what Yes was doing after Asia
Yeah.
did not do well after their second album. And then Howe and Hackett. Hackett wasn't doing shit. And Howe probably said, let's do an album. But they didn't tour, you said, Joe, right?
No, they did not tour.
Oh, it makes sense because I feel like Howe would. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it was successful on MTV.
Surprising, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to work on the keyboardist, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yep. And you can include the Dutch.
I will include the judge.
Include the Dutch. Include the Dutch. Sorry to all our English listeners out there.
Yeah. All right, guys. Great show. So much information. And to our viewers, we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Cheech, Manny, and Silky Joe show. Signing off.
Good night.
Have a great night, guys.
Good night, gents. May the prog be with you.
Yes. Take care.
Whoa, whoa now.